Chapter 1561 View at the Peak. This was one of the greatest pursuits of refinement path, combining all kinds of killer moves into one GU worm. For instance, Mortal Killer Move Self-Strength. This move was a strength path killer move which Northern Plains GU Immortal Su Xian'er had created for her daughter He Lulan. Its core was strength path, but it treaded on soul path and chi path. Once it was activated, it could produce a human phantom. The phantom's appearance was lifelike and was a portrayal of the GU master's inner consciousness. Moreover, this strength path phantom could act on its own and chase its enemies. There were altogether 50 GU worms used in forming this killer move. According to Fang Yuan's current comprehension of the refinement path maxim, any killer move, be it of mortal or immortal level, could be considered as an incomplete recipe. That was to say, self-strength killer moves' contents could be altered by taking out and adding in various kinds of GU materials, continuously improving it until it becomes a GU recipe for self-strength GU. When the GU recipe is perfected and self-strength GU is refined, activating just this GU worm could produce a strength path phantom. The benefits of this were clear as day. A killer move condensed into a GU worm reduced the amount of GU worms used to only one. When the GU master activates it, not only would it be extremely convenient and fast, the primeval essence expended would also be much less than activating the killer move. Another example was Immortal Killer Move Myriad Self. This move was Fang Yuan's unique creation. It combined enslavement and strength path, made from the merging of killer moves like Dragon Horse Spirit, 3 Heads 6 Arms, Rat Epidemic, Thunder Explosion, Leopard Rush, Horse Barrage, 3 Hearts Combination Soul, Beast Phantoms, 6-Arm Heavenly Zombie King, and so on. The core immortal GU were Self-Strength, Pulling Mountain, Pulling Water, and Cleanse Soul. The supplementary GU worms were All-Out Effort GU, Bitter Strength GU, Borrow Strength GU, Self-Reliance GU, Refine Essence Spirit GU, Earth Strength GU, Water Strength GU, Wind Strength GU, Lightning Strength GU, Fire Strength GU, Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus GU, Lurking Soul Coat GU, Breath Concealment GU, Group Strength GU, as well as all kinds of Soul Path Mortal GU. This killer move clearly had lots of contents. It was extremely troublesome to activate. It was because Fang Yuan had practiced it frequently to the point where it had become a kind of instinct that he was able to use it freely in battle. But in fact, it contained countless extremely complex steps. What if this killer move was elevated and refined into a GU? Myriad Self-Immortal GU. It would clearly be extremely convenient and usable. Fang Yuan would only need to transfer immortal essence and activate this GU worm to produce tens of thousands of strength path phantoms, quickly and conveniently. Fang Yuan did not have qualifications to do this before, but now with his quasi-supreme refinement path attainment, he had the ability to reach this level. All kinds of killer moves refined into GU worms. Fang Yuan's heart thumped with excitement, but he did not lose his calm as he continued to ponder. I now have the ability to elevate killer moves into GU worms. However, even though there are killer moves that can be refined into a GU worm like Myriad Self, some killer moves cannot, like Purple Blood River Formation or Ignited Thought Flying Rock. If these killer moves are condensed to their limit, they will comprise multiple immortal GU. Later on, I will need to coordinate and activate these multiple immortal GU to use the killer move. This method has benefits and demerits as well. The benefits are that it will be much more convenient and quick. The exhaustion of mind is also sharply reduced. But there are disadvantages. First, when Myriad Self-Killer Move is condensed into a Myriad Self-Immortal GU, other immortal GU might be required to be used as GU materials to refine it. Moreover, the power of just Myriad Self-Immortal GU might not be as strong as Myriad Self-Killer Move. Myriad Self-Killer Move used so many immortal GU and supplementary mortal GU, while Myriad Self-GU would only be 1 GU. If its rank was just rank 6 or rank 7, it would have limited Dao marks, thus not enough power. Another thing is that when only a GU worm is used, it will be easy to counter. Killer moves are complicated, but they are also much more difficult for others to deduce and decipher. Killer moves could also be continuously adjusted and elevated. For instance, Myriad Self-Killer Move had the variation moves Strength Path Giant Hand and Reverse Flow Protection Seal. But Myriad Self-GU itself would not have the potential to be elevated further. Of course, the overall benefits in elevating killer moves to a GU worm is still much higher. Simply because the GU could be used as the core of the original killer move anyway, raising its power and also preventing it from being deduced easily. Even if some immortal GU have to be used as GU materials during the refinement process, I can refine them again. This ability would be extremely helpful to Fang Yuan. Look at Myriad Self first. Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal was a variation move of this killer move. Since the start, it was extremely troublesome for Fang Yuan to activate reverse flow protection seal. He needed time to prepare for it because of the complicated procedures, and if there was even a slight mistake, the killer move would fail and inflict backlash to himself. But if he had myriad self-immortal GU, Fang Yuan could modify reverse flow protection seal, greatly simplifying its steps and activating it much faster. With this, his battle strength would rise by another level. Fang Yuan possessed a lot of killer moves, but the ones he used frequently were few. Myriad Self could be condensed and elevated, Purple Thought Perception Starlight could be condensed into multiple Immortal GU, Ancient Sword Dragon Transformation could also be condensed into one GU Worm. By then, with Myriad Self Immortal GU and Ancient Sword Dragon Immortal GU, he could use just 2 Immortal GU to unleash the killer move Myriad Dragon. Divination Tortoise Transformation, Self-Cleansing Killer Move, 180 Slaves, Enslavement After Victorious Fight, and so on could also be condensed and elevated. As Fang Yuan continued to ponder deep into this subject, he suddenly had another insight. Wait, be it killer moves or refining GU, they are both basically the utilization of Tao. Isn't my reverse flow protection seal using reverse flow river? And didn't Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's orderly well use City Well? City Well and reverse flow river are not GU worms, why could they be used? Isn't it because they are secluded domains of heaven and earth, containing a huge amount of Tao marks which are then used by us? Fang Yuan thought about it again. The nurture, use, and refinement of GU worms were in essence Tao. There were too many GU cultivation paths: 1, fire path, water path, metal path, wood path, strength path, wisdom path, soul path, rule path, poison path, theft path. These paths all involve the nurture, use, and refinement of GU, all involving Tao. This is in fact a kind of Tao that connects us to heaven and earth. Suddenly, the most classic phrase of the GU cultivation world appeared in Fang Yuan's mind. Man is the spirit of all beings, GU are the essence of heaven and earth. Never had Fang Yuan's understanding of this phrase been as profound as this moment. I want to condense and elevate killer moves into GU worms. I need to take out GU worms, add in GU materials, and merge them into one. Immortal GU are the fragments of the great Tao, GU materials are the accumulation of Tao marks. As long as the path is the same, they can be substituted with each other. The reason why killer moves like Reverse Flow Protection Seal and Orderly Well can be activated is because Reverse Flow River and City Well have an abundant amount of Tao marks that can take the place of GU worms. From this point of view, these two killer moves have actually progressed from killer moves to GU recipes. As Fang Yuan continued to ponder, many of his questions from before were being clearly solved. Refinement path was actually rather special. Although it was one path, it was related to every path. The comprehension gained from becoming a quasi-supreme Grand Master was much broader and deeper than any of Fang Yuan's accomplishments in other paths. Thinking about it, I am using landscape as before Immortal GU to restore Danghun Mountain. It looks like I am using a GU worm on the surface, but it can also be seen as using the killer move landscape as before. Any killer moves can be seen as an incomplete GU recipe, thus from another angle, this is also GU refinement. Only that what I am trying to refine is not a GU worm, but a rank 9 immortal material, Danghun Mountain. Fang Yuan was only rank 7, but he could refine rank 9 immortal material. The important thing here was the Orderly Well killer move, which was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's method. And back then, the Orderly Well killer move that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable used on Danghun Mountain was of rank 9 level. Realizing this point, Fang Yuan immediately got many new ideas for the restoration of Danghun Mountain. Danghun Mountain can be restored. It can also be used as a core like Reverse Flow River and form an immortal killer move. Oh, I understand. The peak of soul cultivation recorded in Spectral Soul's true inheritance, the three-headed thousand arms demon soul, isn't it an artificial secluded domain of heaven and earth? Also, the rank 9 killer move Ghostly Concealment of Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable has countless Tao marks working together and can function endlessly without adding any immortal essence. This is also an artificial secluded domain of heaven and earth. All along, Fang Yuan did not understand why Ghostly Concealment did not need immortal essence and could continue working all the time. But now, he came to a realization. Did Danghun Mountain require immortal essence? No. Did Luopo Valley require immortal essence? Also no. Spectral Soul forcibly resisted the calamities and tribulations. Although he used immortal essence to activate killer moves, in essence, he did not require immortal essence to possess his extremely powerful battle strength. But this did not mean all kinds of Tao marks could be casually piled together with enough quantity to form a secluded domain of heaven and earth, or form a killer move like ghostly concealment. Tao marks needed to coordinate together. Wasn't this coordination just GU refinement? The required GU materials needed to be selectively chosen. Wasn't it nurturing GU? The required food materials needed to be of a certain standard. Wasn't it using GU? The coordination between GU worms was the coordination between Tao marks. Fang Yuan continued to ponder deeply for a long time before slowly opening his eyes. 3 days and 3 nights had passed. He had absorbed the refinement path true meaning in a few hours, but his comprehension used up 3 days and 3 nights. Fang Yuan's black eyes shone brightly, he looked even more unfathomable now. Looking at Fang Yuan's eyes, Lang Yalan's spirit became uncertain with shock. What's wrong? Fang Yuan asked. Lang Yalan's spirit sighed. The air you gave off a moment ago made me feel like I was looking at Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. Any GU Venerable was publicly recognized as a supreme grand master of their own path. Fang Yuan was already able to reach their boundary with his refinement path quasi-supreme grand master attainment. He was no longer looking up at the towering mountains, from the level below, he was able to observe the scenery. This was the view at the peak of GU cultivation. Chapter 1562, Emperor Yama. Slumbering lightning python. Lang Yalan's spirit gave a loud shout. At the next moment, lightning bolts flashed and interwove together, forming a huge dragon-like lightning python. Lightning was yang, python was yin. The lightning python contained yin and yang. Not only was the wild nature of the lightning curbed, it even showed some gentleness. As a result, the lightning python was not ferocious, but graceful and lovely. It moved in a zigzag pattern, slowly coiling around a mountain-like elephant-shaped rock. The python constantly crushed the rocks into the finest powder. Refinement Path had 4 publicly recognized strongest immortal killer moves to deal with immortal materials. One of them was Slumbering Lightning Python. Lang Yalan's spirit originated from long-hair ancestor, he naturally had extreme proficiency in them. This killer move was elevated to rank 8 by using rank 8 Refinement Path Immortal GU. They could not process this rank 8 immortal material Elephant Armor Mountain without the rank 8 Slumbering Lightning Python. This was an immemorial immortal material of Information Path. Lang Yalan's spirit had already been processing immortal materials for several hours now. Over 10 rank 8 immortal materials had already been processed. These immortal materials were divided into various categories and were all of Information Path. Slumbering Lightning Python gradually dissipated, Elephant Armor Mountain had completely been turned into fine powder. The powder gathered with other immortal materials, and under Lang Yalan's spirit's methods, they all formed a constantly rotating multicolored whirlpool. It is done, you can stop the immortal formation. Lang Yalan's spirit let out a breath of relief, extremely exhausted. Immediately, a hairy man GU Immortal removed the Refinement Path Immortal formation. With the immortal formation gone, the aura of the multicolored whirlpool immediately started to spread. The distant Wisdom GU was like a kitten that had smelled fish as it flew over and jumped right into the whirlpool, looking drunk. So Wisdom GU had such a trait. Fang Yuan said with a moved expression. According to legends, Wisdom Gu's recipe contains a large amount of Information Path immortal materials. In nature, a wild Wisdom GU can only complete its advancement in areas that are full of Information Path Tao marks. Lang Yalan's spirit said. Fang Yuan immediately understood. Wisdom Gu's GU recipe was not recorded in both Spectral Soul's True Inheritance and Lang Ya True Inheritance. Only Heavenly Court had some records. Fang Yuan could not control Wisdom GU, but he could move this lump of multicolored whirlpool from afar. As for those over 4,000 years of lifespan GU, he had already collected them after Refinement Path True Meaning. I had to trouble First Supreme Elder to personally act, I will gradually repay this debt. Fang Yuan spoke in a sincere way to Lang Yalan's spirit. Although the method of moving Wisdom GU was simple, the cost was not anything small. Various rank 8 immortal materials had to be merged to create this temporary multicolored whirlpool. And this whirlpool would gradually dissipate not long after. It had no use besides deceiving Wisdom GU to change location. This cost was naturally borne by Fang Yuan. After discussing with Lang Yalan's spirit, both sides came to an agreement to let Fang Yuan owe the cost for the time being and not immediately pay. After all, Fang Yuan had just been through an intense battle, he urgently needed to fill his immortal essence reserves. This was also because of the rise in Fang Yuan's status. Before this, he would not have been able to enjoy such great benefits. But now, after he had pummeled Thunder Ghost True Monarch, He had the dominant status when communicating and negotiating with Langya land spirit. Time is tight, I will immediately go into closed cultivation and use all my strength to deduce a way as fast as possible to get out of this predicament. Fang Yuan said. Good, then I won't disturb you. Joy flashed by Langya land spirit's eyes, his exhausted look easing by a lot. Fang Yuan returned to his cloud city. Feng Juji's group had invaded Langya blessed land and taken several cloud cities. But by some luck, Fang Yuan's cloud city had evaded this calamity and was still safe. This might also be related to Fang Yuan's powerful luck. Fang Yuan entered closed cultivation. The other variant human GU immortals wanted to get close to him, but Fang Yuan did not meet any of them, including those of the snowman race. Inside Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Immortal killer move, strength reversing life and death. This move is a strength path killer move. It is not too suitable for my time path clone. I need to modify it into time path in the future. Fang Yuan's time path clone immediately turned back into an immortal zombie and arrived in front of Wisdom GU. After a while, Wisdom GU erupted with the light of wisdom. Fang Yuan's time path clone sat cross-legged and began to think rapidly in the light of wisdom. The issue of the Dao marks left by Feng Juji's group in Langya blessed land was shelved aside by Fang Yuan. Comparing Langya blessed land's safety and his own, his was of course more important. Right now, the most crucial thing is to elevate Yama. Otherwise, once I come out of the blessed land, the immortal essence to maintain Yama is really too high. If Yama was not elevated, Fang Yuan would be in an extremely passive situation. If his location was exposed and Heavenly Court continued to make deductions, they would learn of even more secrets which Fang Yuan absolutely did not want to see. Previously, Fang Yuan had thought it was much better to use Ghost Official Garment along with Ghostly Concealment's power to block Heavenly Court's deductions. The killer move Yama was a successful result of his attempts. But now, Heavenly Court had a lot of clues on Fang Yuan. The current Yama was not enough to protect him. This deduction continued for over a month. Of course, the light of wisdom was not used the whole time. The whole process went smoothly for the most part, because Fang Yuan had great grandmaster attainment in theft path, quasi-supreme in refinement path, and also had good grasp over ghostly concealment, ghost official garment and other killer moves. The process slowed slightly because of his slightly lacking soul path attainment. The biggest difficulty was during the mid-late stage. But it was also resolved after Fang Yuan added rank 8 Immortal GU Soul Beast token. The killer move Yama had a huge transformation. Fang Yuan renamed it to Emperor Yama. Emperor Yama had 4 main components: Ghostly Concealment, Ghost Official Garment, Soul Beast Token and Myriad Self. Although I have deduced Emperor Yama, it can only be considered an initial version. I will need to activate it and constantly adjust it. My main body will be in charge of this. As for the clone, it will continue to deduce the way to deal with the Dao marks left by Feng Juzhe. Just like this, Fang Yuan stayed in Langya blessed land for about half a month. Fang Yuan finally came out of his closed cultivation. His clone had already completed its deduction task. Fang Yuan found the method to resolve the problem of the Dao marks left by Feng Juzhe. He gave this method to Langya land spirit. The latter's expression immediately changed at this, cursing Heavenly Court's sinister craftiness. It turned out that if refinement path methods were used to get rid of these Dao marks, it would instead help these Dao marks. The killer move self-cleansing was also ineffective. Heavenly Court was not a match for Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in Soul Path, but their refinement path foundation was not any weaker than Langya sect. After all, among the 3 supreme Grand Masters of refinement path, only Long Hair Ancestor was a hairy man, while the other 2 were humans, and most of their inheritances were gathered by Heavenly Court. Fang Yuan was a quasi-supreme Grand Master. He saw through this scheme and even provided the simplest way to deal with it. Fang Yuan could quickly deal with these Dao marks when Langya blessed land was relocated. Other methods would require more than 10 years. So the question returned back to the starting point, Langya blessed land's relocation. What do we do? Maybe Heavenly Court intentionally made this arrangement to force us to relocate the blessed land. Langya land spirit was very worried. Fang Yuan also had the same worry. Heavenly Court had not made any movement in this period of time, but it did not mean they had given up. It was more likely that they had already made preparations and were waiting for Langya blessed land to expose its location. But if they didn't relocate, Heavenly Court would find this location sooner or later. Looks like we can only prepare to relocate. This is the recipe for Myriad Self-Immortal GU. If it is refined, it will be a huge boost to my battle strength. Fang Yuan said as he gave a GU recipe to Langya land spirit. This was the result of his recent deduction. Using his refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster attainment, Feng Yuan was confident this was already the most outstanding recipe possible. Myriad self-immortal Gu. Lang Yalan's spirit's attention was immediately attracted. Although his obsession was different from the previous land spirit, he had originated from long-hair ancestor after all. If your immortal Gu recipe is refined, it will be at least a rank 7. But, several of the immortal materials are in scarce amounts in the sect storage. It will be difficult to purchase them in a short time period even from Treasure Yellow Heaven. Lang Yalan's spirit gave a bitter smile. No worries, I will gather these immortal materials myself. Feng Yuan waved his hand, giving a slight smile, his gaze deep and eerie. With the new Emperor Yama killer move in his hands, he intended to use this chance to test out this move's power in a real battle. Chapter 1563, Meng 2. Southeast of the northern icy plain, north of Inkman City, northwest of Poison Grassland, and at the extreme south of Meng tribe, there was a place called Autumn Blade Plain. This was a special land created naturally, it was flat with no grass growing on it. Meng Tu walked step by step in Autumn Blade Plain. He was tall and well-built, and had a bronze luster to his skin. He was wearing an armored vest that revealed his shoulders. His pants were rolled up, revealing his calves. He was walking barefoot. The plain and natural ground was as sharp as knives. As Meng Tu walked on this silver soil, it was like walking on a mountain of blades, as his every step left behind a trail of blood. But his expression was without a change. He was silent, his eyes closed, and his brows slightly knitted as he pondered over a doubt in his mind. Autumn Blade Plain is full of blade path Dao marks, forming countless edge Gu naturally. I have been walking back and forth barefooted for several years now, but what is it that I am lacking for which I am still unable to make a breakthrough in my blade path attainment level? Blade path was an extremely small path, it could not be compared to paths like metal path, fire path, earth path and so on. Sword path could not be left out when mentioning blade path. These two paths were deeply interconnected and yet conflicting with each other. Because the origin of these two paths was the same, that was Edge Gu. Regarding Edge Gu, it was recorded in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Ren Zhu was walking in ordinary abyss where some places were swampy, it was easy to get stuck in the mud, and the stench was foul. Some places were full of thorns, sharp pointy tips were everywhere, Ren Zhu suffered a lot of injuries. In some parts of the ground, there were also edge Gu. When Ren Zhu stepped on the ground, his soles were injured by the sharp edges, his injuries became larger as blood flowed, when he walked, the pain could be felt striking deep within himself. Edge Gu was the origin of both blade path and sword path. Many wild edge Gu were produced in nature. Autumn Blade Plain was one of the few edge Gu production areas in 5 regions, and was controlled by the Superforce Meng tribe. Meng Tu was a rank 7 Gu immortal who cultivated blade path and had peak rank 7 battle strength. He was a genius when he was young, and grew rapidly, becoming a famous expert of Northern Plains Gu immortal world, and was one of the pillars of Meng tribe. Several years ago, he gave a request to the tribe's Gu immortals, wanting to stay in this Autumn Blade Plain. On one hand, he could look after this important resource point of the tribe, while on the other hand, he was doing this in consideration of his own cultivation. His blade path had been stuck at quasi-great grandmaster level. He wanted to use this Autumn Blade Plain, by imitating Ren Zhu's actions, to truly step into great grandmaster level. But over these years, although he made some gains, he was always obstructed by a thin veil from stepping into great grandmaster. Meng Tu had a determined personality, he refused to give up even after not seeing results for several years. Sigh, breaking through to great grandmaster realm is truly difficult. The tribe's supreme elders all praised me as a blade path genius rarely seen once in 1,000 years, but I am still only at quasi-great grandmaster level even after hundreds of years. Although I have already sensed the thin veil obstructing me which seems to be so near to me, it feels like it is far away in the horizon and is as difficult as stepping into heaven. But I need to continue walking, this method still has some effect. Someday, I will definitely be able to become a blade path great grandmaster. Huh. Who is it? Right at this time, the Gu formation that covered the whole of Autumn Blade Plain was destroyed abruptly, revealing the clear blue sky. A figure descended with overwhelming aura, directly charging at Meng Tu without even saying a word. Such guts! Meng Tu shouted in fury. He did not dodge, instead counter-attacking with a knife hand stance. A loud sound resulted from the collision. The attacker was stable like a mountain, while Meng Tu was sent flying from the force. My immortal killer move might look like it has no momentum, but all its power is contained within. I can easily break the ordinary defenses of rank 7 Gu immortals. But this person is uninjured after taking my attack head-on. This is a powerful enemy. Meng Tu was surprised. He quickly stabilized his footing and shouted at the attacker, "State your name. You dare to intrude on my Meng tribe's territory." Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan laughed madly, saying in a completely altered voice, "Meng Tu, of course you don't recognize me, but that is not an issue, because the dead do not need to know too much. Myriad self-immortal Gu's recipe required an enormous amount of HGU. More importantly, it required a kind of special rank 7 immortal material that was deep under Autumn Blade Plain, drinking blade wine. This wine was not produced naturally, it was an unusual product formed from the bloodstains left by Meng Tu, which had seeped deep into the ground and merged with this place's blade path Dao marks. Fang Yuan knew from his first life's memories that Meng Tu bitterly cultivated here to break through to Blade Path Great Grand Master, but was never able to meet with that opportunity. Meng Tu failed to break through. He imitated Ren Zhu by inserting Edge Gu in his heart to deepen his understanding of Blade Path. The killer move he created was incomplete and had serious hidden side effects. Meng Tu's mind gradually started to be affected and he would often fall into a mad demonic state. Meng Tu also knew that this was not the ideal method, but he kept on insisting on cultivating relentlessly, hiding it from others. When the 5 regions chaotic war started, Meng Tu took part in battles. However, the side effects started up during a battle. He fell into a crazed demonic state, killing his own tribe's GU immortals. After Meng Tu regained his senses, he concealed all traces while also fabricating false reasons, concealing this from the tribe. However, as this happened suddenly, Meng Tu was not able to deal with the traces completely. Northern Plains GU immortals slowly noticed some clues and found the truth. Meng Tu faced huge pressure. Heavenly Court came and secretly instigated him. Meng Tu had initially felt fortunate and wanted to use Heavenly Court to make contributions and make up for his mistakes, but how could Heavenly Court be schemed against by him, a Blade Path GU immortal? Meng Tu was instead schemed against by Heavenly Court. He made mistakes again and again until he had no way out other than to side with Heavenly Court. To support this chess piece, Heavenly Court deduced the opportunity to advance to Great Grand Master, which was the drinking blade wine deep underground in this place. Meng Tu followed Heavenly Court's guidance and came to Autumn Blade Plain. He dug the ground and extracted a large amount of drinking blade wine. When he took a small sip, his organs felt like they were being cut by blades. When he took a large sip, he felt so much pain that he wished for death. By the time he took the 3rd sip, he had advanced to Blade Path Great Grand Master. From then onwards, he completely devoted himself to Heavenly Court and became the spy with 2nd highest status in Northern Plains after Prince Feng Xian. Later on, due to a lucky coincidence, his identity was exposed by Ma Hongyun, but that was another story altogether. Fang Yuan had deduced and confirmed that this place contained drinking blade wine. Although the quantity was not much, he only needed a small amount. As for this Meng Tu, Fang Yuan had carefully picked him to test his Emperor Yama killer move. Fang Yuan could not find a rank 8 GU immortal to test the might of his Emperor Yama. That would be looking for trouble. As for ordinary rank 7 GU immortals, Fang Yuan had no use for them. However, Meng Tu, who had peak rank 7 battle strength, and was already renowned as a Blade Path quasi-Great Grand Master, was an extremely good choice. So Fang Yuan made a long trip to Autumn Blade Plain, directly looking for trouble with Meng Tu. The attack just now was Meng Tu's hidden killer move. Its power is beyond ordinary, but I could block it with just Emperor Yama. This defensive method is pretty good. Fang Yuan assessed in his mind. He had already activated Emperor Yama. He was covered in a yellowish-brown robe of an emperor, turning into a 10-feet giant. The giant had a crown on its head which had strings of pearls in front and back. Its face was deep and dark, as if it was shrouded by a layer of fog, or was a dark whirlpool. Its sleeves were long and wide, it had a jade belt on his waist, and a bronze armor was covering his chest and back. The surface of the robe was adorned with golden threads that had weaved into thousands of ghostly monsters who stood orderly and without moving, giving a dignified aura. Meng Tu's attack was not without any effect. The thin bronze armor on Emperor Yama's chest had a dent. But with a little consumption of Fang Yuan's soul foundation, this dent immediately bulged up, restoring itself. This was the specialty of Emperor Yama. Rank 9 ghostly concealment did not expend anything and also functioned on its own, while Ghost Official Garment relied on soul foundation. Emperor Yama, which was a combination of these two moves, did not require immortal essence but spent Fang Yuan's soul foundation. Meng Tu, you are nothing much. You have cultivated here for several years. What new killer moves have you created? It will be a real pity if you don't use them before your death. Fang Yuan provoked. Meng Tu laughed from anger, then looked at Fang Yuan with pity. No matter who you are seeking your own death by challenging me here. There used to be a defensive immortal formation here, but do you know why I persuaded the tribe to take it back? Because as long as I am here, there is no need for an immortal formation to guard this place. Meng Tu fiercely stomped on the ground with his right foot. At the next moment, the ground shook as endless blade lights surged up, countless blade path phantoms gathered into a huge army, surrounding Fang Yuan tightly. Chapter 1564. Decent, I suppose. In a blink of an eye, Fang Yuan was already surrounded tightly by countless blade path phantoms. Not only this, the endless blade lights filled the whole sky, isolating inside from outside. Whoever you may be, your defensive killer move is indeed amazing. Meng Tu was protected by many layers of blade path phantoms. He gazed at Fang Yuan deeply before smiling and rubbing his hands to ease the numbness from the previous force. But, Meng Tu raised his head slightly at the tall Emperor Yama, his gaze filled with pity. You should never have come to find trouble for me here in Autumn Blade Plain. Actually, it was not wrong to find trouble for me here, but your timing is really bad. If it were when I had just come here, you might still have some chance at survival. But now, Meng Tu laughed, holding his hands behind his back as he shook his head. At the next moment, Fang Yuan continued after Meng Tu's words, but now, this place is already filled with your traces. Since years back, you have been comprehending Blade Path here, trying to break through to Blade Path Great Grandmaster Realm. Thus, you can greatly influence the Tao marks of this place to form an environment that is close to an immortal battlefield killer move 1, like this scene in front of me. Meng Tu's expression immediately changed. He had believed no one knew of his trump card, and thus had never expected Fang Yuan to not only be unsurprised, but also speak of his trump card in such a familiar way. Fang Yuan's low and deep voice continued. Do you know why I am looking for trouble with you? It is precisely because you have this method which can form such a battlefield environment. This is close to an immortal battlefield, but it is still not a true immortal battlefield, with an essential difference that your influence is already at its maximum. You are unable to control it at will, so it might have trapped me, but aren't you also trapped? Meng Tu's pupils shrunk rapidly, his pleased mood had completely disappeared. Who exactly are you? He asked Fang Yuan nervously. Fang Yuan chuckled, looking at his surroundings. Although your blade path phantoms are in high numbers, their quality is not up to par. It happens that I also have a similar method. Why don't we spar a little? Fang Yuan's yellowish-brown emperor robe suddenly emitted countless howls and shrieks. Next, those ghostly monsters weaved on the surface of the robe came alive, and started to move, then jumped out of Fang Yuan's Emperor Yama robe one by one, turning from small to large. These ghostly monsters had human shapes, but they all had malevolent and terrifying faces, knife-like claws, and bloodshot eyes, looking quite horrifying. Kill. Meng Tu narrowed his eyes, as he mobilized his blade path phantoms to charge towards these ghostly monsters. These blade path phantoms all had his appearance, but their faces were vague, and compared to the size of the ghostly monsters, they were like rats against carriage wheels. The ghostly monsters howled and spread their huge arms like a tall tree waving its branches. Bang bang bang, all the blade path phantoms on their way were destroyed. The monsters ran amok while letting out crazed screams and howls, easily crushing all the blade path phantoms on their way. These ghostly monsters are really powerful, each having rank 7 battle strength. Meng Tu had rich battle experience, as he noticed this with just a short observation. His heart immediately felt as heavy as a mountain, his eyelids twitched violently. But it doesn't matter, my blade path phantoms are created from the natural Tao marks in Autumn Blade Plain which are almost endless. Although the quality is not good, it can be made up with the quantity. Meng Tu quickly calmed down. These Yama children have quite the battle strength. Fang Yuan assessed inwardly and was pleased. These ghostly monsters originated from the ancient soul beasts that Fang Yuan had gathered in Green Ghost Desert. After Fang Yuan deduced the killer move Emperor Yama, he modified these ancient soul beasts, changing them into human shapes and turning them into Yama children. This inspiration came from Blood Deity Immortal Gu's recipe. Fang Yuan was a grandmaster in Blood Path. With the light of wisdom's help, he had already completed the Blood Deity Immortal Gu recipe. The current Fang Yuan, with his refinement path quasi-supreme attainment, could change any immortal Gu recipe into an immortal killer move. So Fang Yuan was able to grasp the immortal killer move Blood Deity. The killer move Yama Child was deduced from consulting not only Blood Deity, but also some main contents of Spectral Soul's true inheritance. For example, Soul Beast Modification. Spectral Soul modified the soul beasts in the Door of Life and Death, causing them to become loyal to him. They even faced Duke Long without fearing death. There was also another soul path immortal killer move, life and death retrieval. Spectral soul demon Venerable had created this immortal killer move by comprehending the secluded domain of heaven and earth, the door of life and death. What kind of place was the door of life and death? When any living being died, their soul would return to the door of life and death. It was only when Red Lotus Demon Venerable damaged Fate GU that the door of life and death's power weakened greatly, allowing countless souls to linger behind in the living world to gradually turn into soul beasts. Life and death retrieval had the power to let the GU Immortal retrieve souls from the door of life and death. Fang Yuan completely merged this move into Emperor Yama, giving his Yama children the ability to instantly return. Soon, a Yama child gave a miserable shriek, its thigh was broken and it was knocked down onto the ground. Countless blade path phantoms immediately flocked towards it. But Fang Yuan willed, return. At the next moment, this Yama child immediately turned into fog which flew back into Fang Yuan's emperor robe, turning back into a monster image that was motionless but was filled with injuries and a broken thigh. It can do this. Meng Tu was astonished once again. His hands, which had been held behind his back, were loosened as his gaze towards Fang Yuan turned somewhat stunned. This was too outrageous. Meng Tu had been intending to rely on quantity to kill every Yama child, but had not expected them to be able to return like this. Theoretically, any killer moves could be deciphered, but Meng Tu was a Blade Path GU Immortal and not a Wisdom Path GU Immortal. Even if he was a Wisdom Path GU Immortal, against a rank 8 killer move like Emperor Yama, unless he was a Wisdom Path Great Expert, how could he decipher it on the spot? Even Fairy Ziwei could not decipher it on the spot. When deducing Reverse Flow Protection Seal, she had to repeatedly gather clues from battles, continuously accumulating them before she was able to gain some results. Fang Yuan's Emperor Yama used Ghostly Concealment as its base. This rank 9 killer move was an artificial secluded domain of heaven and earth at the same level as Reverse Flow River. How could Meng Tu break it? Meng Tu simply could not deduce it, he could only summon his courage to continue fighting with Fang Yuan. However, the Yama children's quantity was limited. Although they killed a large amount of Blade Path Phantoms, the injuries accumulated to a serious degree and they were recalled by Fang Yuan. On the battlefield, there were fewer and fewer Yama children, while Blade Path Phantoms seemed to be unlimited. After all, Fang Yuan had limited time, he was not able to modify enough soul beasts. This battle has likely weakened Autumn Blade Plane's foundation by more than half. Meng Tu's expression was gloomy. The price he had to pay was high as he was using the whole of Autumn Blade Plane, the future benefits of Meng tribe, to engage in a battle of attrition with Fang Yuan. But regardless of how much he had to sacrifice, Meng Tu still persisted with this tactic. Fang Yuan's previous words had truly scared him. He had already regarded Fang Yuan as the strongest enemy in his life, so he was cautiously using any available methods to deal with Fang Yuan. But, this was also what Fang Yuan intended to attain with his words. Only this Meng Tu could be the best whetstone to test his Emperor Yama killer move. There were less than 10 Yama children left and they stood on guard beside Fang Yuan, while the unlimited number of Blade Path Phantoms surged towards them like a tidal wave. The speed of recovery is passable. Fang Yuan's expression did not change, he had been standing on the same spot from the start, unmoving like a millennium-old tree. By now, the first Yama child he had recalled to his emperor robe had already recovered completely. When these Yama children modified from soul beasts returned to the robe, they would start recovering from their injuries. Naturally, it expended Fang Yuan's soul foundation. This involved a profundity of GU refinement. The Yama child was still a soul beast and the healing, from another angle, was like a GU refinement process. If I bring out these recovered Yama children, I wonder what expression Meng Tu will have. Fang Yuan smiled inwardly, but did not do this, instead using another method. Let me see Emperor Yama's offensive prowess. At the next moment, Fang Yuan inwardly called out, Soul Explosion. The Emperor Yama suddenly spread its arms, its whole body shook as vast waves of darkness erupted out from it. The Yama children were completely safe in the dark waves, only shaking like they were being blown at by a fierce wind. But those Blade Path Phantoms were like weak candle flames under a storm, instantly extinguishing. In an instant, the whole battlefield was cleared, the unlimited blade lights were instantly destroyed. Meng Tu was sent back hundreds of steps from the soul explosion and was half kneeling on the ground, a glaring radiance was being emitted by his whole body as he pushed his defensive killer moves to their limits. Such power! Meng Tu quickly stood up and looked up at Fang Yuan with a shaken expression. This killer move is truly amazing, it should be a combination move containing both offense and defense. Its defense is so strong, and there is also the powerful method of sending out troops, but its strongest point is its offensive power. I have never seen or heard of this killer move. Was it created by this person? If so, then who in the world is this person who can create such a killer move? This soul explosion effect is decent, I suppose. Fang Yuan gave a nod of approval. One Yama child was completely used to create the power of a peak rank 7 killer move, but it still did not reach rank 8. Defense, Yama child, recovery, soul explosion, these aspects are all at the peak of rank 7. But Emperor Yama's true power lies in 2 other aspects. Let's try this. Just as Fang Yuan was thinking, Meng Tu had already charged over, shouting, "Come, try my killer move, Heaven and Earth Blade." Immortal killer move, Great Thief Ghost Hand. In an instant, a ghost hand, as if from the netherworld, that was as large as a handheld fan appeared behind Meng Tu and directly entered his body. It then came out, disappearing from sight once again. Puff! Meng Tu suddenly coughed out a mouthful of blood. The core immortal GU of Heaven and Earth Blade was robbed, the killer move failed and the backlash immediately inflicted serious injuries on him. What's going on? Where is my immortal GU? Meng Tu's heart shook in unprecedented fright. Chapter 1565, Forced to Die. Previously, in Green Ghost Desert, Fang Yuan had used Great Thief Ghost Hand to steal rank 8 immortal GU Soul Beast token. Great Thief Ghost Hand was only a rank 7 move, and its core was rank 7 Great Thief Immortal GU. But with the help of the killer move Yama, its power rose to the point where it could steal a rank 8 immortal GU from the legendary immemorial soul beast Qing Chao's body. Back then, Great Thief Ghost Hand's effective range was extremely short, which required Fang Yuan to get near the target. After returning, Fang Yuan modified Yama, adding in Great Thief Ghost Hand to form the completely new Emperor Yama killer move. Right now, Great Thief Ghost Hand not only had a long range of effectiveness, it also had the ability to conceal itself. It was not strange for Meng Tu to be struck by it, instead it would be unusual if he was not struck. This is your Blade Path Immortal GU. Oh, a white butterfly's appearance and the size of a fist, is it Bladewing Immortal GU? Fang Yuan recalled the Great Thief Ghost Hand. He was holding a rank 7 immortal GU in his hand, which looked like a butterfly with layers of exquisite cloud patterns on its wings. Cold sweat dripped from Meng Tu's forehead. He was lying weakly on the ground. He looked at Fang Yuan with narrowed eyes and spoke in a hoarse voice. You actually seized an immortal GU from my immortal aperture. Did you obtain a true inheritance of thieving heaven? True inheritance of thieving heaven, hehe, your guess is correct, I obtained one indeed. Fang Yuan sneered as he stored Bladewing Immortal GU into his immortal aperture right in front of Meng Tu, sealing it in Heaven Sealing Mountain. Meng Tu's eyelids twitched violently. Bladewing Immortal GU was not his vital GU, but he had raised it from its rank 5 mortal GU stage. He had failed dozens of times and expended a huge amount of resources, as well as time and energy to raise it. He had never expected there would be a day where it would be forcibly seized. Anger surged in Meng Tu's heart. But even more than anger was fear. Why did Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable become a calamity of the world in the past? Wasn't it because of his immortal GU stealing methods? Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable could even steal things that were hidden in immortal apertures. And now, Fang Yuan had reproduced Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's method. The nightmare that he had casted upon an entire era was like a thick layer of dark clouds that shrouded Meng Tu's heart. Meng Tu healed his injuries to the best of his abilities while speaking with a tensed expression. Since you are a Theft Path GU Immortal and have also inherited Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritance, then you should be aware of the rules set by your ancestor Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable back then. Thieves have their own honor, always leave room for appeasement and never act too overbearingly. Since you have taken my Bladewing Immortal GU, what else do you want? If you want anything else, I can lend them to you. Back then, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable had rampaged throughout the world, with no one able to stop him. But Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was not evil by nature, he was good-natured at his core, he advocated honor and glory. All he wanted was to return home, his cultivation journey and resources stolen were meant for this purpose. After the 5 regions GU Immortals knew of his goal, as well as being aware that they could not defend against Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's methods, whenever they ran into Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, they would lend anything Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable wanted as long as it did not endanger their lives. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable did not have insatiable greed. After he obtained the things he wanted, he spared the lives of the GU Immortals and let them off. In most cases, he only took what he wanted, he did not care about other immortal GU or immortal materials no matter how high their value was. Since Fang Yuan inherited Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritance and was Thieving Heaven's inheritor, Meng Tu knew he could not win, and since the situation was extremely bad, he directly asked for mercy. Fang Yuan frowned. mumbling, "If you truly want to do this, it is also not impossible." Just as he was speaking, Fang Yuan's eyes suddenly glinted, pushing his hands forward as he activated Immortal Killer Move Soul Explosion. A vast wave of darkness immediately surged towards Meng Tu. Meng Tu did not dodge, instead laughing, "You really thought that I, Meng Tu, am a person who begs for mercy?" Just as he ended his words, he was submerged by the soul explosion's dark waves. But shortly afterwards, his body let out bright blade lights as he boldly self-detonated. Boom! A loud explosion with terrifying might threw chaos into the whole of Autumn Blade Plain. After the explosion, not even the corpse of Meng Tu remained, while Fang Yuan's Emperor Yama was mostly destroyed. The quasi-immortal battlefield that covered the entirety of Autumn Blade Plain also completely disintegrated, and Autumn Blade Plain's surface sank by 5 to 6 feet. Fang Yuan quickly used his investigative methods to scan the battlefield, and after several scans, he finally confirmed Meng Tu was truly dead. Meng Tu actually self-detonated. Fang Yuan was surprised and had a strange expression. He had not expected Meng Tu would be so bold and direct. This was clearly somewhat different from the memories in Fang Yuan's first life. If Meng Tu was someone who disregarded life and death, why would he have sided with Heavenly Court? It was because of this, Fang Yuan had felt Meng Tu was not strong-willed, so when Meng Tu asked for mercy, Fang Yuan subconsciously chose to believe him. Naturally, Fang Yuan never intended to let go of Meng Tu, but when he was about to make a move, Meng Tu had self-detonated one step ahead of him. Such determination and will was truly too straightforward. Maybe Meng Tu's nature was gradually changed by all kinds of events. After all, humans do change. Also, in my first life, it was Heavenly Court who made a move. They definitely used some exquisite methods and plans to instigate Meng Tu. Fang Yuan shook his head as he gave one final glance at Autumn Blade Plain before flying away quickly. Almost all the HGU in Autumn Blade Plain were destroyed after this battle. But their growth potential had become bigger, because with Meng Tu's self-detonation, all his blade path Dao marks were engraved in this land. Fang Yuan had obtained little benefit in this battle. Besides testing out Emperor Yama and obtaining the rank 7 Bladeing Immortal GU, he did not achieve his original intention, which was Meng Tu's soul and immortal aperture. Meng Tu's firm resolution had decreased Fang Yuan's benefits. His goal was achieved. Even in death, he did not let the enemy obtain the maximum benefits. After Fang Yuan displayed Great Thief Ghost Hand, Meng Tu knew that his immortal GU could be stolen one after the other by Fang Yuan. With his serious injuries and the fact he was trapped at this place, he had no hope of escaping, so he resolutely chose to self-detonate. From his point of view, it was a rather sensible action. It has always been difficult to prepare oneself for death. This Meng Tu has true courage. In my first life, he sided with Heavenly Court. He was cast aside by his tribe in Northern Plains GU Immortal World, sullying his reputation as a shameless person. This life, although he died, he will definitely have the glory of a fallen hero. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly. Regardless, his goal was still achieved after the battle. Before stealing Bladeing Immortal GU, he had secretly taken out the drinking blade wine from deep underground. In the process, he had casually stolen hundreds of edge GU, which was better than nothing. Fang Yuan retreated extremely quickly. Autumn Blade Plain was in the territory of Meng tribe. When Meng Tu saw Fang Yuan intruding, he would have definitely sent a message to the tribe. So not long later, Meng tribe will sense Meng Tu's death and many GU immortals would come to inspect Autumn Blade Plain. The items were already obtained. Fang Yuan was looking towards the future when Northern Plains obstructed Heavenly Court's expansion, so it was not worthwhile to kill these Northern Plains GU immortals, as it would weaken Northern Plains and be basically helping Heavenly Court. As he was not in a fight, Emperor Yama's robe gradually shrunk to a silk-like clothing, while the thin bronze armor on Fang Yuan's chest and back stuck to his muscles. Oh, someone is deducing me. After a while of flying, Fang Yuan's expression suddenly changed. Meng tribe was a super force and had specially nurtured a wisdom path GU immortal. They were definitely shaken by Meng Tu's death and were sure to look for the culprit. Fang Yuan held his breath, carefully looking at his Emperor Yama killer move. Emperor Yama's robe gradually expanded and continued to expand along with the increase in intensity of the deduction of Meng tribe's wisdom path GU immortal. Fang Yuan was defending against the other side's deduction while also calculating his soul foundation expenditure. Meng tribe's wisdom path GU immortal deduced for a while before stopping, gaining no results. Fang Yuan nodded, greatly pleased. Emperor Yama's defense against wisdom path deductions has become stronger and is at rank 8 level. Even if Fairy Ziwei deduces about me, I can block her. The conclusion was, Emperor Yama's defense and offense were at peak rank 7 level. The Yama children were extremely difficult to deal with. Not only could they act flexibly, they could also rapidly recover, and even if there were losses, they could easily be replenished with soul beast modification. Even more amazing was Great Thief Ghost Hand. This method could steal rank 8 Immortal GU. In this battle, with just one attack, it had determined his victory, forcing Meng Tu, a peak rank 7 expert, to self-detonate. At a similar level to Great Thief Ghost Hand was Emperor Yama's defense against Wisdom Path deductions. This was also what Fang Yuan needed the most. However, Emperor Yama still has room for improvement. I should design an immortal battlefield killer move with Emperor Yama as the core. This time, Meng Tu sealed the area, isolating himself from the outside world. If he had not shot himself in the foot, he could have freely escaped, and it would have been much more difficult for me to kill him. Also, if I had an immortal battlefield killer move, when Meng Tu wanted to self-detonate, I would have sensed it one step earlier. Fang Yuan was always striving for improvements. He believed Emperor Yama could still be elevated further. Chapter 1566, Meng Tribe's Pursuit. 2 GU immortals were flying rapidly in the sky. They had rough appearances and were tall and well built. They were Meng Tribe GU immortals Meng Zizai and Meng Zhao. Like Fang Yuan had expected, the moment he showed himself, Meng Tu sent the message of an attack to the tribe. But later, Meng Tu had used the Blade Path Dao marks to cover Autumn Blade Plain with an environment similar to an immortal battlefield. He was no longer able to send messages. With such an important message like an invading enemy, Meng Tribe naturally would not ignore it. They immediately sent a rank 7 GU immortal, Meng Zizai, and a young rank 6 GU immortal, Meng Zhao, to deal with the enemy. Uncle, who do you think this ignorant guy who dared to intrude on our Meng Tribe is? Hee, I think it is probably a demonic GU immortal who cultivates alone without any contact with the outside world. Meng Zhao said with a smile towards Meng Zizai. Meng Zizai was stone-faced, but his eyes revealed a relaxed gaze as he agreed. Your guess is logical, but you need to plan for the worst in everything. Currently, Longevity Heaven has appeared in front of everyone to unite every Huangjin tribe. Old ancestor Shui who has disappeared somewhere. Heavenly Lord Baizu has turned to the righteous path. The righteous path is at its peak. But there is actually someone who dared to go against the general trend and came to find trouble with my Huangjin tribe. This fellow is either a lunatic or has some background. This is why the tribe sent us as reinforcements to prevent against any accident. Uncle, you are right. But, Meng Zhao paused before laughing. That person is truly unlucky. They went into Autumn Blade Plain which is guarded by Lord Meng Tu. Lord Meng Tu cultivates Blade Path and has quasi-Great Grand Master Blade Path attainment. He is ranked among the top 3 rank 7 experts in the tribe. He might not just be a quasi-Great Grand Master anymore. Meng Zizai sighed. Meng Zhao's eyes brightened. Uncle, you mean that? Meng Zizai smiled. He is the senior brother whom I admire the most in my life. No one in the tribe can match his talent in Blade Path. He has been cultivating in Autumn Blade Plain for the past years. With his talent, he should have reached Great Grand Master realm. Blade Path Great Grand Master. He is indeed worthy of being Lord Meng Tu. Meng Zhao said excitedly. Ha ha ha, that's right. Meng Zizai laughed. He had received a lot of care from Meng Tu in his cultivation. He held Meng Tu in the highest regard. So when Meng Tu messaged the tribe about the enemy, Meng Zizai requested to be sent to aid Meng Tu. In fact, he had utmost confidence in Meng Tu, and he only came to catch up on old times with Meng Tu and introduce Meng Zhao to him. Meng Zhao had been carefully picked by Meng Zizai as a GU Immortal Junior to be nurtured by the tribe. Meng tribe also had various factions representing their respective political benefits. Meng Tu and Meng Zizai were of the same faction. Meng Zhao was selected by Meng Zizai to draw in new blood to this faction. Meng Zhao also knew the significance of this trip, so he was very excited. Autumn Blade Plain is not far away from here. We can see senior brother after a short while. Sigh, I have not seen him for a few years. If he could become a Blade Path Great Grand Master, it will be a huge help to our faction. Meng Zizai inwardly thought. But right at this time, his body suddenly shook violently, then his expression paled, and his eyes widened in extreme shock. Uncle, what's wrong? Meng Zhao noticed the change in Meng Zizai's expression and was doubtful. Since meeting Meng Zizai, he had never seen this calm uncle show such an appearance. But Meng Zhao saw Meng Zizai becoming even more abnormal. Meng Zizai had unknowingly lowered his speed, before finally floating in the air without moving like a statue. His expression was deathly pale, his eyes were red and tears actually dripped down. Meng Zhao's heart shook even more. Something huge had definitely happened, but he did not dare to continue asking. He could only accompany Meng Zizai as they faced the chilling wind. Meng Zizai was dazed for a good while before his expression changed once again. He looked terrifying, his eyes filled with raging fury. Meng Zizai gave a loud shout, the shout was like thunder, resonating over all the surroundings. He then shot forward at an extremely fast speed. Meng Zhao was caught off guard, but quickly followed after coming back to his senses. But how could his speed compare to the rank 7 GU immortal Meng Zizai? Soon, he was thrown far behind. Meng Zhao was very puzzled. What's going on? He had a bad feeling in his heart. Wait a moment. Uncle's direction is towards Autumn Blade Plain. Has Lord Meng too met with danger? Meng Zhao's whole body shivered at this thought. If it were really like this, then this was no doubt like a nightmare to him, and was very bad news for Meng tribe as well. If Meng too, who had peak rank 7 battle strength, died, then it was an extremely great loss for Meng tribe. Meng Zhao hurried to Autumn Blade Plain with all his strength. This what happened here? Meng Zhao was shocked. Before even reaching Autumn Blade Plain, he could sense the surging blade path Dao marks in the air. Autumn Blade Plain's original layout was already completely destroyed, replaced by countless blade marks which crazily cut across the land, forming pits and trenches all over the area. Meng Zhao soon saw Meng Zizai kneeling on the ground, still like a statue. He carefully descended to the ground, the dense blade path Dao marks here stabbed into his skin, causing him to feel bursts of pain. He walked to Meng Zizai's side and shockingly discovered streams of tears on the latter's cheeks. Meng Zhao only saw Meng Zizai in Autumn Blade Plain, he did not see Meng too. That guess in his mind immediately became more distinct by countless times, causing his expression to involuntarily turn into that of fright. Meng Zizai slowly opened his eyes and looked at Meng Zhao, saying in a deep and hoarse voice that let anyone that heard it know the intense pain and anger he was restraining in his heart. Brother Meng too has died in battle. Meng Zhao's whole body shivered, despite already guessing it. When he heard Meng Zizai verifying it, he still could not endure the extreme shock. Meng too had actually died in battle. With his battle strength, who could kill him? Meng Zhao opened his mouth, and after a long while, said, "Uncle, Lord Meng too is so powerful, how could he be so easily killed? Maybe he is still alive and has only shifted the battle elsewhere." But Meng Zizai slowly shook his head. When we were on the way just before, the tribe sent me a message saying Meng too's soul lantern was extinguished. But I still held hope until I arrived here. His voice choked as tears flowed out of his eyes once again. A man does not easily shed tears, unless it is truly a heart-wrenching matter. Meng Zizai continued in a weak voice. I know he has a killer move called Blade Sacrifice, which is a self-destruction method. It destroys his immortal aperture, immortal GU and other resources to let out an unprecedentedly terrifying might. Using this move means he is definitely dead. If so, Meng Zhao quickly looked at the whole battlefield, feeling even more shocked. Meng too was dead. Such a powerful GU immortal had actually died, forced to self-detonate within such a short period of time. Who in the world was the enemy? All kinds of past events and memories surfaced in Meng Zizai's mind. He had never expected a situation where Meng too died. Meng Zizai cried for a while before slowly standing up. His face turned expressionless as he said to Meng Zhao, "You should return, our Meng tribe definitely won't let the matter of Meng too's death go. But this enemy is unimaginably powerful." Meng too had immediately sent a message when the enemy appeared. We also moved out at once, moving here without resting the whole journey. But in such a short period of time, Meng too was unable to protect himself and was forced to self-detonate by the enemy. I know his temperament, he probably wanted to use this move to drag the enemy with him. But from the looks of it, there is no traces of the enemy's death. This is a powerful enemy which even Blade Sacrifice could not kill. I must give chase, I will catch the culprit even if I have to spend my whole life. This is beyond your ability, you should return to the tribe and cultivate, don't let this news be exposed. Meng Zhao nodded with a heavy heart. I understand, you must be careful, uncle. With Meng too's death, Meng tribe had lost a capable expert and this was not a light loss to them. At the same time, they had got in trouble with a powerful enemy with a mysterious origin and unknown goal. Meng tribe would seal this news for the moment to maintain stability. As for Meng Zhao, his cultivation was too low and his status was not high, which could be seen from how the tribe had still not informed him of Meng too's death. Don't worry, Second Supreme Elder is personally coming with the Immortal GU House Investigation Courtyard. Meng Zizai patted Meng Zhao's shoulder. Meng Zhao nodded his head, putting his heart at rest as he left. With Immortal GU House Investigation Courtyard, they did not have to fear even if they encountered a rank 8 existence. Meng Zhao did not have to wait for long as he saw Investigation Courtyard appear in the horizon. Not long later, Investigation Courtyard came to a stop. Meng tribe's second supreme elder walked out of the courtyard, nodding at Meng Zizai solemnly before immediately starting to inspect the battlefield. But why would Fang Yuan leave behind any clues? After Meng tribe's second supreme elder finished inspecting, his expression turned even heavier. Meng Zizai said, "This mysterious enemy is very clean with their methods. I have already inspected the battlefield earlier, they have dealt with the traces with extreme proficiency." Meng tribe's second supreme elder nodded his head. "No worries, we have Investigation Courtyard here." Investigation Courtyard was an information path Immortal GU house, its specialty was to gather information. Meng tribe's second supreme elder immediately activated one of its killer moves. They actually managed to find some clues. He went in that direction, chase. Meng tribe's 2 GU immortals entered the Immortal GU house and chased after Fang Yuan with fury and hatred. Chapter 1567. Front-back Divine Obstruction Needles. The clues end here. Meng tribe's Immortal GU house investigation courtyard slowly stopped in the air. Meng tribe's 2 GU immortals looked at each other. Meng Zizai looked ahead at a lush valley that was starkly different from the surrounding grassland. Such a valley would not form naturally, but the 2 Meng tribe immortals were not surprised. Meng tribe's second supreme elder said in a heavy voice, "This is Sleeping Lady's Divine Needle Valley." Meng Zizai frowned. "Is it her?" Meng tribe's second supreme elder was silent. Sleeping Lady was a rank 7 lone immortal who cultivated sound path. She did not have outstanding battle strength, but she controlled an immemorial desolate beast divine hedgehog. This divine hedgehog was a sword path immemorial desolate beast, and had an ability to shoot out all the spines on its body, which was extremely fast and had terrifying power. Sleeping Lady created Divine Needle Valley, being in control of the area between Meng tribe and Morong tribe. She not only had the powerful method to control an immemorial desolate beast, her political wisdom was also excellent. She lived right between the 2 super forces, so no side dared to truly go against her. Because if one side did that, Sleeping Lady could easily side with the other super force. The 2 Meng tribe GU immortals were silent. The situation could become messy. They followed the clues here, but they had not actually obtained any specific information regarding Fang Yuan. Sleeping Lady's own strength was not Meng Tu's match, but if she sent the divine hedgehog, she might be able to kill Meng Tu. This indeed made her a suspect. But this matter was troublesome to handle. Meng tribe and Morong tribe had quite a good relationship with Sleeping Lady. They had expressed goodwill to her since long ago, trying to win her over and preventing her from siding with the other party. The relationship between Meng tribe and Morong tribe was obviously not good. Every super force had an instinct to expand their territories. Meng tribe and Morong tribe were so close to each other, how could their relationship be good? If Sleeping Lady was the culprit, how could she have such guts by herself? So it was very likely she had already sided with Morong tribe. As a super force and a righteous Huang Jin tribe, Morong tribe could not attack another righteous path super force for no reason, so it was entirely possible for them to have used Sleeping Lady as the front. If Sleeping Lady was not the culprit, then how should the 2 Meng tribe GU immortals investigate? Slight carelessness might make Sleeping Lady develop thoughts of siding with Morong tribe, then Meng tribe's losses would undoubtedly be even bigger. The 2 GU immortals pondered for a long while before Second Supreme Elder finally said, "Let's go, we will make a visit to Sleeping Lady and inform her of Meng Tu's death. Only by being open and direct will Sleeping Lady realize our Meng tribe's intention." After all, the clues stop at her Divine Needle Valley. Meng Tu nodded his head. Investigation Courtyard had not concealed its traces, so the 2 Meng tribe GU immortals' arrival had already startled Sleeping Lady. However, Sleeping Lady maintained her composure. She had the qualifications and the confidence to cope with all situations, patiently waiting for the 2 Meng tribe GU immortals to come to her. When Meng tribe's 2 immortals reached her residence, they immediately narrated the situation to her. She then understood the situation and also realized how serious this matter was. First, she declared her innocence, which was immediately verified by the Meng tribe GU immortals. Secondly, she herself was worried when she heard that the clues disappeared in Divine Needle Valley. This mysterious culprit could kill Meng Tu. He definitely has powerful methods and terrifying battle strength. Friends, please do me a favor by coming with me to inspect the whole Divine Needle Valley. Sleeping Lady took the initiative to ask for help. Meng tribe's 2 immortals were joyous. This was what they wanted, so they immediately agreed. The 3 immortals moved in a group, carefully searching Divine Needle Valley. Sleeping Lady was afraid too. She had some knowledge of Investigation Courtyard's power. Since the clues disappeared in Divine Needle Valley, it was very likely the culprit was still hiding in her valley. Since this mysterious culprit could so viciously kill Meng too, why would he not be able to deal with her? The three immortals searched for a long while but gained no results. Meng tribe's two immortals glanced at each other, the second supreme elder intentionally saying, "We have searched almost the whole Divine Needle Valley, is the killer really not here?" Meng Zizai pretended to unintentionally reply, "Isn't there still an area which we have not searched?" Sleeping Lady knew these two were putting on a show, but she was not the culprit and sincerely wanted to search this place, so she nodded, "I specially designed this Divine Needle Valley for the Divine Hedgehog, only the deepest area of the valley is left now, please follow me." Meng tribe's GU immortals followed Sleeping Lady to the depths of the valley. An enormous pure white hedgehog was resting at the dark valley floor. It was sleeping in a curled-up position, its breaths were long and slow. It was covered with extremely sharp spines which were full of sword path Dao marks. The divine hedgehog was as large as a hill. Meng tribe's two GU immortals slowly flew to its side, they were like ants in front of a carriage wheel. Such an amazing immemorial desolate beast. Meng tribe's second supreme elder softly praised. Sleeping Lady's expression somewhat softened, this was her most important capital that allowed her to survive in between two super forces. Meng tribe's second supreme elder carefully inspected before saying, "This batch of front-back divine obstruction needles seems to have very high quality." Sleeping Lady, when are you picking them? The sharp spines on the divine hedgehog's body were rank 8 immortal materials that could be plucked. Every sharp spine was a front-back divine obstruction needle. Every time the divine hedgehog encounters a dangerous situation, it would shoot out all its sharp spines to kill the enemy. These released spines naturally could not be put back. When the divine hedgehog goes to sleep, new spines would once again grow on its body. Sleeping Lady had unique methods which could make the divine hedgehog fall into deep sleep constantly. Doing that after feeding it till it's full, Sleeping Lady gained an economic pillar which was the business of front-back divine obstruction needles. These front-back divine obstruction needles were mostly sold to Meng tribe and Morong tribe, while the remaining small portion was put on sale in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Sleeping Lady thus was quite well off. Northern Plains was poor in resources, but Sleeping Lady relied on this divine hedgehog to live a far better life than most of the Northern Plains GU immortals. "I will pick them up soon, there will be 436 needles this time." Sleeping Lady replied seriously. There were over 1,000 spines on the divine hedgehog, but Sleeping Lady needed to leave behind those short spines to continue growing. What she plucked were the longest spines. Also, she could not sell all the spines, because without these spines, the divine hedgehog's battle strength would fall severely. "Let's start," Meng Zizai suggested. "Please examine carefully, I will make the divine hedgehog remain asleep." Sleeping Lady said. Meng tribe's two GU immortals began to search for clues with investigation courtyard. The commotion was huge but Sleeping Lady's sound path killer move made the divine hedgehog remain deep asleep. If the divine hedgehog was startled awake, it would definitely become furious and vent its anger on them, attacking randomly. Sleeping Lady had not completely subdued this beast. After all, she was not an enslavement path GU immortal. "We have a new clue." After a long while of searching, Meng Zizai suddenly said with a spirited expression. Sleeping Lady was terrified. This person actually infiltrated this deep into the valley and I did not sense it. The three immortals followed the trails found that it continued deeper down. The three immortals followed the trail all the way, unknowingly reaching deep underground where the clues increased further. Not long later, the trail changed direction, winding up towards the surface. The three immortals followed the trail cautiously, arriving at the surface after a while. This is the territory of Morong tribe, it is hundreds of li away from Divine Needle Valley. Meng tribe's second supreme elder frowned. The clues completely disappeared here. Meng Zizai's gaze flickered, Sleeping Lady fell silent, she would not make any statements in such a delicate juncture. The three immortals inspected the surroundings for a long while, but did not find any other clues. Sleeping Lady proposed to return to her valley to rest. Meng tribe's two immortals had not found any clues, so after thinking for a moment, they agreed. But how could they have known when they returned to the valley? There was a shocking discovery waiting for them. The extraordinary divine hedgehog was still in a deep sleep, but its whole body was bare, all the front-back divine obstruction needles were gone. What's going on? My divine obstruction needles. I had stayed guard in Divine Needle Valley without going out for 100 years, spending a large amount of food to feed the divine hedgehog and not stinting on repeatedly using my killer move to make it sleep before I was able to get it to this scale. Sleeping Lady was pale with shock as she shouted in an anguished voice. Meng tribe's two immortals looked at each other, cold sweat dripping from their forehead, because they suddenly realized they were used by someone. Chapter 1568. Sleeping Lady spits blood. I want Meng tribe to give me an explanation, now. Otherwise, although I might be a lone cultivator, I won't let this matter drop. Sleeping Lady fiercely stared at the two Meng tribe immortals. Her losses were truly disastrous. This caused her to be so anxious and furious that she directly demanded for an explanation even though the other side was Meng tribe. She was not like Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan lost his guts GU business but still had many income sources like dragonfish business, spirit snake transactions, regretful spiders, eerie fire dragon python and so on. To Sleeping Lady, losing these front-back divine obstruction needles was the same as losing her main financial pillar. Although she still had the divine hedgehog, to regrow the front-back divine obstruction needles would require time as well as an enormous investment. Sleeping Lady had a long-term plan. Every time she harvested some front-back divine obstruction needles, she did not pick all of them, instead leaving behind most of them to continue growing. But the person who stole the front-back divine obstruction needles was too vicious. They did not leave behind even one tiny spine for Sleeping Lady. Sleeping Lady's losses were not only those spines which had grown to the limit, her future prospects were also affected. A pity that I don't have methods to move this immemorial desolate beast into my immortal aperture. Putting it outside is truly not safe. Sleeping Lady's fists trembled, she even had a passing thought of suiciding. But actually, even if she could move it, it would be troublesome. First of all, she did not have full control over the divine hedgehog. If this immemorial desolate beast acted up inside her immortal aperture, she would suffer severe losses. Secondly, if Sleeping Lady was about to undergo tribulation, Heaven's will would send much more powerful calamities and tribulations that would specifically target the divine hedgehog. Finally, the divine hedgehog was Sleeping Lady's trump card to survive between Meng tribe and Morong tribe. If she placed it in her immortal aperture, and there was a fight in the future, she might not be able to release it in time to face the enemies. Sleeping Lady, calm down, please calm down for a second. Meng tribe's second supreme elder repeatedly persuaded. Calm down, how can I calm down? You said a murder happened, Meng 2 died in battle, alright, I believed your Meng tribe and without verifying the truth, I let you guys in and even warmly welcomed you. You said you found evidence, but I did not find anything and only relied on your investigation courtyard. Later, there were indeed obvious clues, but were they truly left behind by the culprit? Does investigation courtyard not have an ability to tamper with clues? As she said this, cold sweat dripped down Sleeping Lady's forehead. She calmed down and looked vigilantly at the two Meng tribe immortals. A large amount of GU worm auras started spreading from her body. Sleeping Lady fixed her gaze at the two Meng tribe immortals while slowly retreating. Meng tribe's two immortals could only smile bitterly, but also understood Sleeping Lady's mentality. Right now, the divine hedgehog had lost all its spines, its battle strength had fallen to an all-time low, which was like Sleeping Lady's own battle strength falling down sharply. The trump card which she had used to have dealings with the two super forces was now mostly gone. How could Sleeping Lady not be vigilant? Meng tribe's second supreme elder sighed bitterly. Sleeping Lady, if this was really planned out by my tribe to plot against you to secretly steal this divine hedgehog's spines, why would we bother returning with you? If we were plotting against you, we should have already deceived you into a trap like an immortal battlefield using the excuse of finding the trails of the culprit, don't you think so? Sleeping Lady was silent for a moment before moving her eyes upward. That is probably because your Meng tribe belongs to the righteous path and has to abide by rules, so you can't directly make a move against me. On the other hand, I have already set an agreement with your Meng tribe, so you made this plan of lowering my battle strength first and then using eloquent speech to deceive me. Meng tribe's two immortals could not help but glance at each other. Sleeping Lady's words were not unreasonable, her quick thinking made Meng tribe's two immortals not know of what to say. HMPH. Sleeping Lady continued, you thought I am not aware of your righteous path's tricks. You started this. If your Meng tribe won't give me an explanation then alright, I will let the world be the judge of it. Stop, Meng tribe's second supreme elder quickly shouted, his and Meng Zizai's expressions were ashen. But it was too late. Sleeping Lady directly revealed this matter in Treasure Yellow Heaven. She quickly informed Morong tribe through her contacts. In an instant, the matter Meng tribe had tried hard to hide about Meng 2 being killed, them being unable to find the culprit, and even implicating Sleeping Lady in losing her front-back divine obstruction needles, were completely revealed. You. Meng Zizai pointed towards Sleeping Lady, his eyes were almost spouting fire of anger. Meng tribe's second supreme elder was also ashen-faced as he gazed at Sleeping Lady with narrowed eyes and killing intent. Sleeping Lady's expression was impassive, but was inwardly smiling bitterly. She of course knew her action had greatly harmed her and Meng tribe's relationship. But she had no other options. She had to do this. Any alliance agreement had the chance of being broken by one side. Today's matter was also too severe, Sleeping Lady had to protect herself. How could she, whose battle strength had fallen to rock bottom, protect herself? Even if Meng too died, the super force Meng tribe was still not something a rank 7 lone immortal like Sleeping Lady could go against. Sleeping Lady believed the best method was to borrow the strength of others, to attract the attention of other GU immortals and Meng tribe's competitor, Murong tribe, to this matter and support her to some extent. Even if Meng tribe had some harmful intentions, they would have to restrain themselves, after all, they were a righteous path force. Sleeping Lady, at this point, any more words have no meaning. But I will tell you not to be so suspecting, we were likely used by that person. Meng tribe's second supreme elder said in a deep voice. The situation was obvious now. Even if the two Meng tribe immortals did not cultivate wisdom path, they could deduce that the culprit was extremely vicious, not to mention how they had inexplicably forced Meng 2 to self-detonate, they intentionally left behind clues to lead Meng tribe's pursuers to Divine Needle Valley. They then used them to lead Sleeping Lady away, which allowed them to conveniently take away all the spines of the Divine Hedgehog. Our Meng tribe will give you an explanation. Before leaving, Meng tribe's second supreme elder left behind this sentence. Meng tribe's two immortals left, Sleeping Lady immediately began to arrange a GU formation around the immemorial desolate beast Divine Hedgehog. Meng tribe had lost their clues so they could only head back. Even if they obtained any clues now, they would be doubtful if this was another trap by the enemy. Inside investigation courtyard, Meng Zizai suddenly said with a fierce glint in his eyes. This culprit is really crafty, the matter has been exposed now and the whole world knows of it, how about we just sentence Sleeping Lady as the culprit? Whether Sleeping Lady was the culprit or not, if Meng tribe attacked and killed her, they could regain their prestige, resolving this crisis to their reputation. And who is to say they won't be able to get the immemorial desolate beast Divine Hedgehog? Meng tribe's second supreme elder sighed. I also thought of this. But, firstly, investigation courtyard is not able to deal with Sleeping Lady and the Divine Hedgehog in a short period of time. This place is also close to Murong tribe, there is no guarantee of them not interfering. Secondly, we have an alliance agreement with her, and will suffer a heavy backlash if we rashly attack her. Finally, the current Northern Plains situation is not the same as before. At present, Longevity Heaven had appeared in front of the world, Yao Huang had taken the position of South Desolation Immortal, and Longevity Heaven was uniting all the Huang Jin tribes. In this period of time, they were dedicating themselves to integrate the strength of Northern Plains GU Immortal World. Righteous path forces were basically all Huang Jin tribes, there was almost no need to integrate them. Longevity Heaven's first plan was thus to merge lone cultivators with the righteous path. This plan was, however, slightly obstructed when Heavenly Court sent someone disguised as Fang Yuan. But Longevity Heaven still had not given up, they continued to make effort in this plan. Thus, as a Huang Jin tribe, if Meng tribe rashly attacked the lone immortal Sleeping Lady and did not handle it properly, they would be investigated and blamed by Longevity Heaven. This was what Meng tribe's second supreme elder had the most worries about. As the two Meng tribe immortals were heading back, Fang Yuan was also rushing back. A pile of front-back divine obstruction needles was quietly lying inside his sovereign immortal aperture. Indeed, he was the culprit behind the entire matter. Fang Yuan knew a lot about Meng tribe, and with his wisdom path attainment, he arranged a simple but effective trap. And with his powerful luck, Sleeping Lady was indeed drawn away, letting him immediately succeed in this plan. Ordinary GU immortals might not be able to get near the Divine Hedgehog, after all, their auras were distinct. But Fang Yuan had familiar face and could completely disguise as Sleeping Lady. Even when the Divine Hedgehog slowly opened its eyes, he did not panic. The Divine Hedgehog went to sleep once again, Fang Yuan was able to pluck all its spines. After obtaining them, Fang Yuan did not do anything to the sleeping Divine Hedgehog, he directly left. In his first life's memories, Sleeping Lady was also one of the experts who resisted Heavenly Court. As for the Divine Hedgehog, why would he take it? It was of little value to Fang Yuan, instead it was better to let it continue to remain in Sleeping Lady's hands. When Sleeping Lady nurtures a new batch of spines again, Fang Yuan could then come again to steal it. Fang Yuan had no guilt even when killing others, let alone just stealing things. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was indeed amazing to be able to create a path like Theft Path. Fang Yuan had tasted its sweet benefits and now had a whole new view of Theft Path. In the battle with Meng Tu, it was Great Thief Ghost Hand which determined the victory at once. If it had gone normally, Fang Yuan could not have so easily taken Meng Tu's life. Before Theft Path's appearance, GU immortals could fight each other to death but still might not be able to obtain much battle spoils. But with Theft Path's appearance, they could obtain resources without the need to fight a life or death battle. The costs are reduced while the efficiency is raised. This is simply too amazing. Unfortunately, right now is not a good time for me to go around stealing. On one hand, I lack Theft Path Immortal GU, and only have the rank 7 Immortal GU Great Thief to support my Theft Path moves. On the other hand, I have already exposed Great Thief Ghost Hand back in Western Desert. If I go around robbing all over the place, someone will probably connect the clues and deduce my true identity. There is still a crucial immortal material lacking from the Myriad Self-Immortal GU recipe. After this, I will hurry back to Langya Blessed Land and refine Myriad Self-Immortal GU. Although Fang Yuan had some Theft Path methods, he could not overdo it. Because his soul cultivation was the more urgent matter. Increasing his soul foundation meant he could make more use of Emperor Yama, his battle strength as well as plans would be guaranteed. But cultivating soul required Guts GU, required soul cores, and also required the goods from Green Ghost Desert. Suan Bu Jin's identity needed to be kept a secret. This was a chain of requirements. Oh right, I also cannot let this matter be easily revealed. Fang Yuan snickered, immediately spreading rumors in Treasure Yellow Heaven, saying Sleeping Lady was lying and scheming against Meng tribe. The front-back divine obstruction needles were kept by herself in preparation to undergo tribulation and advance to a higher level. The truth was even more obscured now, which was even more helpful in concealing Fang Yuan. As for Sleeping Lady, when she learned of these rumors, she immediately spat out blood from anxiety and anger. Naturally, this was of no concern to Fang Yuan. Chapter 1569, 50%. Treasure Yellow Heaven. A large lump of transparent fire was silently burning while letting out vast treasure light. The fire immediately attracted the attention of many GU immortals the moment it appeared. Many wills and a few divine senses were attracted towards the scene. Black Heaven Temple's GU immortal Zhongji smiled. He was the owner of this transparent fire. I never expected this expedition to give me a batch of a rare rank 7 immortal material. Its profits should be enough to replenish my immortal essence reserves. While thinking, he responded to everyone's questions about the price. His price was only a slight bit higher than the norm, so many had the thoughts of purchasing. I want all of this. One divine sense directly contacted Zhongji, offering a high price. Zhongji's heart thumped in excitement, somewhat disbelieving. You want all of this? The price. Make the deal. The other side was extremely straightforward, directly giving a large amount of immortal essence stones. Okay. Seeing such a huge amount of immortal essence stones, Zhongji's eyes immediately brightened, agreeing immediately. The transaction was completed quickly. The GU immortals who were observing the fire were somewhat caught off guard. No need to worry, I still have stock left. Zhongji's divine sense was constantly fluctuating. He quickly proclaimed and took out another lump of transparent fire. It was just that this transparent fire's amount was much smaller than the previously sold lump. The first transaction had stimulated other GU immortals' desire to purchase. After all, this transparent fire was indeed rare in the market. Usually, they could only accumulate it over continuous purchase, and every purchase was normally only a fist-sized or a basin-sized lump of fire. They were different from now where the transparent fire was the size of a carriage. They could not lose this rare opportunity. But this time, I am going to raise the price. Zhongji's smile became brighter. He did not have much knowledge of the transparent fire. This was also his first time selling it and he did not have a proper understanding of the market situation, so the enthusiasm of other GU immortals was beyond his expectations. He continued to raise the price, but few buyers gave up, so the starting price continued to become higher. Darn it, looks like I made a mistake in selling earlier. Zhongji looked at this scene with some regret, while also admiring that buyer's decisiveness. Zhongji was not foolish. He had divided his stock of transparent fire into 3 portions. The first portion was to test the waters, while the one he was selling now was the second portion. As the transactions continued to increase, he got a clearer grasp over the market situation. Floating life fire. Fang Yuan looked at this lump of transparent fire in his sovereign immortal aperture with a delighted expression. It was him who took the lead and purchased Zhongji's goods. This floating life fire was transparent and burned silently without any heat. But when it burns a living being, all kinds of past scenes of this living being would turn into images that would constantly replay in the floating life fire. At that time, the floating life fire would emit a multicolored radiance, and would no longer be transparent. Floating life fire needed to be preserved with special methods. Zhangji had coincidentally obtained a large amount of floating life fire, he did not have such methods. After Fang Yuan obtained it, he immediately used a method to preserve the floating life fire. This method was not from Spectral Soul's true inheritance, but was obtained from Langya true inheritance, which he had exchanged Spectral Soul's true inheritance for. I had thought I needed to travel far and find trouble with other people to seize this floating life fire. Who would have thought that someone was selling it in Treasure Yellow Heaven in such a large quantity now? This luck is truly amazing. Fang Yuan smiled. There were bound to be many GU immortals who wanted to purchase floating life fire. But GU immortal wills were usually unable to make the decision, they could only follow the commands left by the GU immortal. And to be able to take out so many immortal essence stones at once was also not something ordinary GU immortals could do. Even if they had the capital, those observing GU immortals would want to bargain, as the amount they required was usually not that big. Because of many reasons, Fang Yuan was able to make the first move and gain it for a cheap price. As for the risk, this Zhangji was a GU immortal of Black Heaven Temple, a person of Heavenly Court, but he did not know the buyer was Fang Yuan, neither did Fang Yuan know of his identity. Transactions in Treasure Yellow Heaven were very secure. If Heavenly Court was able to use this to scheme against Fang Yuan, to have such a deep influence even in Treasure Yellow Heaven, then it was better for Fang Yuan to just surrender. All in all, the chance of this was rather low. Drinking blade wine, edge GU, front-back divine obstruction needles, and floating life fire, these four main immortal materials were all gathered. Fang Yuan still had to purchase some more edge GU, which could be completely satisfied by Treasure Yellow Heaven. If not, he still had a channel left in Western Desert's Shao clan. Since there was no meaning in staying outside, Fang Yuan hurried back to Langya Blessed Land. Passing through the Immortal Formation, Fang Yuan returned to Langya Blessed Land. The process was smooth with no danger. Fang Yuan's return was much earlier than expected, this made Langya Land Spirit extremely happy. Since you have returned, I will prepare for the refinement. Langya Land Spirit was extremely active, the pressure from Heavenly Court was really too huge. I still need to thank First Supreme Elder and the GU Immortals of the other three races for lending me so many Immortal Essence Stones. Fang Yuan thanked. Without their assistance, how could Fang Yuan take out such a huge sum? Don't stand on ceremony. We are all on the same side. You getting stronger means Langya Blessed Land will be even more safe. If Langya Blessed Land is in danger, they also won't be able to escape due to the alliance agreement. Langya Land Spirit's reply was direct and frank. Indeed, the present situation made it such that Langya sect as well as the Snowmen, Rockmen, and Inkmen were in the same boat. If anyone encountered danger, the rest would not be able to escape. Fang Yuan handed the four immortal materials to Langya sect to process. These immortal materials required at least 15 days of processing, the steps were extremely tedious, repetitive and complicated. This was the case when all the hairy man GU immortals of Langya sect put in their full effort. The superiority of myriad self-immortal Gu's recipe could be seen from this. With his refinement path quasi-supreme Grand Master attainment, Fang Yuan's myriad self-immortal GU recipe was so outstanding that it could be said to have reached the limits of the world with no room left for improvements. The crucial procedures of the GU refinement were shortened to the limit, there were 3 in total. While the other procedures had over 10,000 steps, most of them were the processing of the immortal materials. Fang Yuan processed the immortal materials to their best state, spending most of his effort in this. Even if the expenditure of the immortal materials increased because of this, he did not hesitate. Because these procedures were the ones which GU immortals could control. While those crucial steps of the GU refinement could only rely on the collision and interweaving of the Tao marks, GU immortals could not control these changes. Through this method and with the help of Langya sect's GU refinement abilities, the success rate of Fang Yuan's myriad self-immortal GU recipe was at an incredibly high 50%. That meant Fang Yuan had an equal chance to succeed or fail in refining it. 50% success rate was truly too terrifying. The absolute majority of GU immortals would be happy if they had even 1% success rate when refining GU. However, this was also mainly because Fang Yuan was a refinement path quasi-supreme Grand Master. How many refinement path quasi-supreme Grand Masters were there in the world? Since ancient times until now, an expert at Fang Yuan's level could be counted with one's fingers. Those who surpassed his level only amounted to 3 people in the whole of history. Moreover, there were extremely few GU immortals who cultivated multiple paths, and how many of them would cultivate refinement path? From another angle, most GU immortals were actually amateurs in refining immortal GU. It would be preposterous if they could raise the success rate of the GU refinement. In fact, even Fang Yuan, who had deduced it, was in slight disbelief over the 50% success rate. But then he thought of Long Hair Ancestor. Long Hair Ancestor had refined many immortal GU in his life, including rank 7 and rank 8 immortal GU. He was a refinement path supreme grandmaster. If he did not have such a success rate, would Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable find him for help? Furthermore, I am making use of the whole of Langya sect's strength to refine this GU. In the present age, when comparing refinement path attainment, Langya sect should no doubt be the #1 force. Besides these, the third main reason is my powerful luck. First was his refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster attainment level, second was the #1 refinement force's all-out help, and third was the powerful luck obtained from Giant Sun's true inheritance. Three big reasons combined to form this 50% success rate of myriad self-immortal Gu's refinement. I am finally free from the curse of refining immortal GU. Fang Yuan was extremely moved to the point of having the urge to tear up. He knew the most important reason was him becoming a refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster. The other two reasons were helpful, but they were more or less present in all the previous GU refinements. His 50% success rate was mainly still brought by the refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster attainment. And this is when I am only deducing and modifying the immortal GU recipe. In the future, when I make up for my lack of foundational skills in GU refinement, I can personally take charge of the refinement process. The success rate will increase even more. It is a pity that I don't have enough time. Chapter 1570. Myriad Self-Immortal GU. Langya Blessed Land, Cloud Cover Continent. Langya Land Spirit breathed in deeply, shouting, "Formation, activate." Like millions of bees dancing and buzzing, the refinement path super formation activated. Soon, a huge stream of white gold light burst out and filled the surroundings. "Enter the formation," Langya Land Spirit ordered as he entered the immortal formation at the same time. Next, 6th hair, 3rd hair, 4th hair, 7th hair, and the other hairy man GU immortals entered the formation. Fang Yuan stood at the periphery of the immortal formation as an observer. He was not personally involved in this GU refinement, he had handed it to Langya Land Spirit and the other hairy man GU immortals. Even though Fang Yuan had quasi-supreme refinement path attainment level, he could not compare to Langya sect's GU immortals in terms of practice of refinement fundamentals. During normal times, I can still participate in the GU refinement. But this time, Langya Land Spirit is using the refinement path immortal formation that Long Hair Ancestor had created personally back then. This immortal formation can only be used by hairy man GU immortals. As a human GU immortal, if I enter, I will be killed by the immortal GU formation. Langya Blessed Land had deep foundations. This time, they took out one of Long Hair's refinement path formations. Of course, with Fang Yuan's methods, he could use his transformation path attainment to turn into a hairy man GU immortal. But most likely, Langya sect wanted to keep this formation a secret and did not want to expose it to Fang Yuan. I used Spectral Soul's true inheritance to exchange for Langya true inheritance back then. Evidently, this long hair refinement path formation is something Langya Land Spirit is keeping as a trump card, he will not trade it away. Like the lead soul into dream killer move within Spectral Soul's true inheritance, I am also keeping it for myself. Fang Yuan watched from the side as bright light shone in his eyes. Even though Langya sect pushed Fang Yuan to the side, he was quite satisfied with it. Facing the huge pressure from Heavenly Court, Langya sect was very anxious. They even activated this long hair refinement path formation to quickly refine myriad self-immortal GU for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was one of them. After joining Langya sect, increasing his battle strength was very beneficial for relocating Langya Blessed Land. The long hair refinement path formation activated slowly, the light continued to change colors. It was originally white gold, before turning orange gold, and dark gold. The dark gold light started to flicker with starlight specks, it was very bright. The immortal formation's buzzing got softer. After a few breaths of time, it became completely silent without any sound. The hairy man GU immortals and Langya Land Spirit were all standing in a big circle. Langya Land Spirit first acted as he activated an immortal formation, opening it and taking out a bunch of already prepared immortal materials. This immortal material resembled chilled and dried sunflowers. The moment it appeared in the immortal formation, it turned into smoke and fused into the dark gold light. Fang Yuan watched solemnly. This was the first crucial step. After the smoke completely fuses into the dark gold light, they would be able to continue. Fang Yuan did not feel much pressure. If this step failed, his losses would not be big, he could restart again. But an hour later, the immortal material completely turned into smoke and fused into the dark gold light perfectly. Within the immortal formation, the dark gold light continued to condense and shrink. It was everywhere earlier, but now it was the size of a house, trapped within the long hair refinement path formation. When the starlight specks within the dark gold light turned into ice stars, Langya land spirit activated the immortal formation and started the second step. As time passed, immortal materials were sent into the immortal formation by the hairy man-Gu immortals one by one. They were all fusing together. 3 days and nights later, third hair started tossing Gu worms into the immortal formation. He first threw in self-reliance Gu. This Gu worm was only rank 3, it was shaped like a cockroach, a dark brown colored flat body. There were feelers on its head, and wings on its back. Self-reliance Gu was a strength path Gu worm that had healing effects. The greater the Gu master's strength, the greater the healing effect. This was a rare Gu worm, mortals could not find one even if they tried, but sixth hair tossed in several hundreds of them. The quantity of self-reliance Gu was strictly calculated. Because this involved the quantity of Dao marks, when refining immortal Gu, the numbers had to be precise. When all of the self-reliance Gu were tossed in, Langya land spirit shouted as he activated long hair refinement path formation fully. At once, within the formation, fire pillars rose, hundreds or thousands of them that were meters tall blazed within the dark gold light. Strong air currents were blowing outwards, but the refinement path immortal formation perfectly trapped them. The hairy man-Gu immortals who were standing around the immortal Gu formation could not feel the temperature rising at all. The long hair refinement formation was very exceptional. The orange-red fire pillar continued burning for 48 hours before weakening. The dark gold light was completely burned up. Even the self-reliance Gu were burned into an odd rock that was the size of a horse carriage. After waiting for a while, the rock solidified completely. Feng Yuan let out a sigh of relief. The second step of refining myriad self-immortal Gu was finally over. Next, Langya land spirit and the rest started to rest and recuperate while fourth hair and sixth hair worked to sustain the immortal formation, carving this rock. After some time, the rock was completely ground up and turned into a pile of rock fragments scattered on the ground. Third hair stopped resting and took out the drinking blade wine, pouring it over these rock fragments. This drinking blade wine was obtained by Fang Yuan not long ago when he killed Meng Tu. It had great use now, turning the rock fragments into traces of gray smoke. The gray smoke floated up and condensed into balls of smoke, resembling miniature lanterns that floated in the air. Fourth hair and sixth hair started to rest, while third hair took out a number of all-out effort Gu. This Gu worm was shaped like a rhinoceros beetle. It was a mortal Gu. It had the size of an adult's palm, and was very heavy. It was oval in shape, and had a strong armor exoskeleton. There was a strong horn on its head, looking heavy and powerful. It had several pairs of legs, all strong and thick. Its body was dark brown, and glistened with a metallic surface. People only needed one glance to know it was not ordinary. Fang Yuan had not refined all-out effort immortal Gu yet for now. These were all mortal Gu, from rank 1 to 5. The Gu worm entered the smoke and did not mix with it. At this time, Langya land spirit started to act, opening the inventory and taking out the floating life fire that had already been prepared. Within the transparent fire, large numbers of all-out effort Gu and gray smoke started to fuse. This was a long step. Half a month later, the fusing was completed, be it the floating life fire, all-out effort Gu, or gray smoke, they all vanished, a drizzle was left. This drizzle was restricted by the refinement path immortal formation. It was trapped at the center of the formation, raining down endlessly. By now, the third crucial step was completed too. Time was pressing now. The drizzle was not stable, it was becoming smaller rapidly. All the hairy man-Gu immortals and Langya land spirits started to act. They all had different methods. They were in charge of different segments of the Gu refinement. Front-back divine obstruction needles and other immortal materials were all tossed in, as well as large numbers of mortal Gu. The myriad self-immortal Gu recipe that Fang Yuan deduced did not expend any immortal Gu. Instead, a large number of immortal materials and mortal Gu were used. This way, he would not lose immortal Gu, but his immortal materials and mortal Gu expenditure would increase by tens of times. The amount of work needed for the refinement also increased drastically. This was also why Langya sect was using the long hair refinement path formation. As time passed, all the crucial steps were passed without much danger or accidents. After 2 months in Langya Blessed Land's time, the refinement of myriad self-immortal GU reached the final crucial step. Fang Yuan had time path methods of course, but he could not reduce the time needed. The shrinking of time by time path was essentially carving time path Dao marks to influence it. During the refinement process, the addition of time path Dao marks would disrupt the refinement itself. 2 months was Fang Yuan's current limit already. He had used all of his time path methods that could be used to perfectly refine the immortal GU without additional disruption, by turning the Dao marks into materials for the refinement. The immortal formation resonated and shook, bright light burst into the sky. Langya Land Spirit let out a deep sigh. The rest of the hairy man GU immortals had tired expressions, but joy was on their faces. The final step succeeded. The light faded as a rank 7 immortal GU appeared. This GU worm was more than 10 meters long. It was like a centipede that shined in a metallic luster. The mouthpiece on its head looked dangerous while there was a pair of long antennas on its forehead. It had 5,000 legs on either side of its body, having a total of 10,000 legs. Rank 7 immortal GU myriad self. To think that the first refinement succeeded. Haha, we finally refined it. The hairy man GU immortals cheered, they were extremely happy. Myriad self-immortal GU was trapped at the center of the refinement path immortal formation, because Fang Yuan was not the person who refined it, it was currently still ownerless. But soon, Fang Yuan refined it rapidly using the help of the refinement path immortal formation. Using one attempt to refine this rank 7 immortal GU, haha. Fang Yuan was also very happy, he had never even dared to dream of such a thing happening in the past. 50% success rate was too high. Fang Yuan tried to inject immortal essence into myriad self-immortal GU, it started to shine as countless Fang Yuan strength path phantoms appeared from within the light, it was like using the killer move myriad self. The effect is only slightly weaker. After all, the killer move myriad self uses too many GU worms. Fang Yuan could feel the difference. The immortal essence expenditure has fallen greatly, the activation is also much easier now, it only needs one thought. The killer move back then needed time to prepare no matter how familiar I was with it, it also used a lot of mental energy. Fang Yuan tested it and was extremely satisfied with myriad self-immortal GU. Chapter 1571, Luopo Seal. Langya Blessed Land, Cloud Cover Continent. Immortal Killer Move, Myriad Self-Giant Hand. Fang Yuan floated in the air, his aura exploded with a loud sound as a giant hand appeared out of nowhere, slamming towards the ground. Instantly, air currents pushed out as the huge palm descended like a toppling mountain, slamming fiercely on the cloud soil ground. Cloud Cover Continent was designed by Langya Land Spirit personally, it was made of cloud soil, able to float in the air without ever landing. The cloud soil was not tough. Fang Yuan's myriad self-giant hand had rank 7 attacking power, this hand shattered the cloud soil of all the surroundings, falling down towards the vast sea below. Fang Yuan was testing his killer move, he was not trying to destroy Cloud Cover Continent, thus when his hand landed on Cloud Cover Continent, Langya Blessed Land's super immortal formation activated, a silver light resembling flowing water appeared on Cloud Cover Continent. After myriad self-giant hand landed on the cloud soil, the silver light was destroyed as cloud soil scattered around, the surrounding terrain was completely altered, there was a huge handprint on the ground that was several meters deep. Fang Yuan willed as the giant hand quickly vanished. Seeing the effect, he nodded in satisfaction. With myriad self-immortal GU, giant hand is much easier to use now. In the past, in order to use myriad self-giant hand, Fang Yuan had to first activate the killer move myriad self and store countless strength path phantoms in his immortal aperture. Next, using these strength path phantoms, he had to use group strength GU to unleash strength path giant hand. The process was very tedious, if he did not store strength path phantoms in his immortal aperture, he could not use giant hand in a life and death battle. But strength path phantoms could not be stored for a long time, they would disappear after some time and disintegrate on their own. It was usable for battles he was prepared for, but in unexpected situations, or when he was ambushed, myriad self-giant hand could not be used. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had deep wisdom and a cautious mind, he had always been keeping an eye out for such situations, he did not end up in an awkward spot. In the past, using myriad self-killer move already needed self-strength immortal GU, bitter strength GU, borrow strength GU, self-reliance GU, refine essence spirit GU, amplify effect GU, earth strength GU, fire, water, wind, lightning strength GU and countless other mortal GU, but now I just need to use myriad self-immortal GU. But now, my myriad self giant hand only needs myriad self immortal GU as the core with some group strength GU as the supplementary mortal GU. It requires less than 30 GU worms in total, and is very simple compared to the past. The former myriad self giant hand was evidently unusable now. After refining myriad self immortal GU, Fang Yuan modified myriad self giant hand into a new version using myriad self immortal GU as the core. The core self strength immortal GU was no longer used. This meant that self-strength immortal GU could be used in other aspects. Of course, he could also add it into the myriad self-giant hand killer move to increase its strength. That would depend on Fang Yuan's further modification. Actually, myriad self-giant hand has room for improvement. For example, if the speed is insufficient, I can add mortal GU to fix that flaw. I can also add soul path immortal GU to allow giant hand to capture souls as well. Furthermore, the power of Giant Hand is merely limited by my Strength Path Dao marks. I can continue to strengthen it. The current Giant Hand has rank 7 power, but is not at the peak. It is because my Sovereign Immortal Body's Strength Path Dao marks cannot sustain greater power. Fang Yuan had only started modifying Myriad Self Giant Hand. After changing the core Immortal GU, there was still huge room for improvement. In the past, the killer move was too complicated and expended too much thinking and time. Adding more GU worms would lower its usability. But now, Myriad Self-Killer move was condensed into one GU worm. The process was very simple. He could add more Mortal GU and Immortal GU to make an even stronger Giant Hand. Fang Yuan's practice this time was not just on the Strength Path Giant Hand, he was also testing Lang Yasek's defensive Super Immortal formation. When Feng Juzhe invaded earlier, this immortal formation had been very useful. It preserved the lives of many variant human GU immortals and also helped Lang Yasek get through that tough situation. Feng Juzhe used Separation Song on the immortal formation multiple times, but Fang Yuan had expected it and split the immortal formation into many layers. Feng Juzhe separated many layers but did not get to the core after all. This time, Fang Yuan did not just modify Myriad Self Giant Hand, he also modified the immortal formation and allowed its range to extend throughout Langya sect. Earlier, when the Strength Path Giant Hand landed on Cloud Cover Continent, this immortal formation was the reason why the destructive effect was reduced. After testing Strength Path Giant Hand, he moved on to the more important matter. Immortal Killer Move, Reverse Flow Protection Seal. This killer move determined Fang Yuan's upper limit. It was only through this he could contest rank 8s. Right now, the core of the killer move was the secluded domain of Heaven and Earth Reverse Flow River, Myriad Self-Immortal GU, Perseverance Immortal GU, Pulling Water Immortal GU, and over 100 Mortal GU. Even though it was more complex than Myriad Self-Giant Hand, this was way simpler than the previous Reverse Flow Protection Seal. After simplifying the killer move, the success rate of activation rose sharply. It was more usable in battle now. During the battle in Green Ghost Desert, I was sneak attacked and could not use Reverse Flow Protection Seal in time. Now, the activation time has shrunk greatly. I should be able to deal with most assaults. However, I can no longer conceal Reverse Flow Protection Seal's modifications and set a trap. The trick I used on Thunder Ghost True Monarch only works once. Fang Yuan felt it was a pity. Reverse Flow Protection Seal killer move had become much easier to use now due to Myriad Self-Immortal GU, but this was Fang Yuan's current limit. Adding more Immortal GU would be difficult. He could no longer set a trap like earlier and reveal a brand new Reverse Flow Protection Seal within a short period of time. After some deductions, Fang Yuan went into seclusion again, deducing other killer moves. Even though Fang Yuan was calm, he was filled with pressure. Against a huge force like Heavenly Court, who would have no pressure? The refinement of Myriad Self-Immortal GU was not only to elevate several killer moves. Fang Yuan's true motive was to create a third variation move, Luopo Seal. I was affected by Lu Wei Yin's immortal killer move and lived through 3 lifetimes. These dreams were very mystical, especially the third life. It was a huge inspiration for my Luopo Seal. But I had a lot of obstructions earlier when deducing Luopo Seal. There was a huge hurdle to cross. This Myriad Self-Immortal GU is like a bridge that might allow me to cross this hurdle and attain success. Fang Yuan felt excitement and anticipation. Even though he raised his reputation using the battle against Thunder Ghost True Monarch and suppressed Feng Juzhe, Fang Yuan knew that he was inferior to Feng Juzhe in many aspects. Feng Juzhe could fight rank 8 because he had a deep accumulation of Sound Path Dao marks, evenly matching rank 8. Even without rank 8 Sound Path Immortal GU on him, his killer moves could reach quasi rank 8 because of the amplification of his Dao marks. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan could fight rank 8 because he was using the vast number of Dao marks inside Reverse Flow River. His own Dao marks in several paths reached rank 7, but he was still far from rank 8. Even if he annexed the Blessed Lands inside City Well, he would still be far from rank 8. Fang Yuan was not inferior to Feng Juzhe in talent. Feng Juzhe was unprecedented in creating assimilation wind song. He was the first GU immortal able to summon the winds of assimilation. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan created myriad self and combined strength and enslavement path. It was also a revolutionary creation. The two of them were equally matched. Now that Fang Yuan condensed the killer move into myriad self-immortal GU, his status had risen again. Because he could create an entirely new path along this route of development. Compared to just a killer move, there was much more room for development. GU cultivation paths were created like this, some were the fusion of two paths, while others were sub-classification of existing paths. Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe were only different in terms of age. How many years had Fang Yuan cultivated since rebirth? Feng Juzhe had already lived for hundreds of years. Fang Yuan made such achievements before the age of 50, it was very rare that he could match Feng Juzhe. Compared to normal people, he was simply a monster. His cultivation level rose at an unbelievable rate, it could not be assessed normally. After all, Fang Yuan's rebirth had huge advantages. And the truth was, Fang Yuan's own Dao mark accumulation was quite high. But now, heaven's will was against him and made his tribulations weak so he could not get Dao marks. Annexing immortal apertures was a way, but the upper extreme heavenly eagle had not returned to him yet, while other methods needed specific immortal GU and were troublesome to refine. Food path methods like snack immortal GU could be used for the killer move eat strength, but the efficiency of this increase in Dao marks was too low. While the grass grows the horse starves, Fang Yuan naturally placed his attention on the secluded domains of heaven and earth. Fang Yuan had quite a few secluded domains of heaven and earth. Luopo Valley, Danghun Mountain, Reverse Flow River, City Well, a total of 4 secluded domains of heaven and earth. Among them, Reverse Flow River had already been used for Reverse Flow Protection Seal, it allowed Fang Yuan to fight rank 8 existences. Danghun Mountain had already been destroyed and was still in the middle of reparation. City Well was needed to raise variant humans, and in terms of rule path, Fang Yuan was lacking. The most suitable target was Luopo Valley. Fang Yuan's soul path attainment level was ordinary, but he had spectral soul's true inheritance, the number 1 soul path inheritance in this world, nobody could deny that. On that foundation, along with the inspiration that Fang Yuan obtained from the trials of the 3 lifetimes, and also with myriad self-immortal GU. If I add in the light of wisdom, I should succeed in deducing Luopo seal, right? Fang Yuan pondered. Chapter 1572, too late. Time passed quickly, half a month went by. On this day, Fang Yuan flew out of Cloud City, the immortal formation around Langya Blessed Land activated and burst out with golden light, enveloping Fang Yuan. The golden light flashed as Fang Yuan vanished on the spot. When he reappeared, he was in a desolate place 1,000 li away. These days, Fang Yuan modified the super immortal formation again, it had the power to teleport other people. Because earlier, when Feng Juzhe attacked the hairy men and killed them, Langya Land Spirit was aggrieved but helpless. Langya Land Spirit remembered this painful lesson. After refining myriad self-immortal GU, he suggested this modification to Fang Yuan. Langya sect helped Fang Yuan to refine myriad self-immortal GU, using the long hair GU refinement immortal formation in the process. Fang Yuan naturally had to return the favor and modify the immortal formation as they wished. Fang Yuan's formation path attainment level was extraordinary. With the help of the light of wisdom, he had already finished the modification of the immortal formation long ago. Arriving at an empty place, Fang Yuan breathed in deeply as he started to practice his killer move. Immortal killer move, Emperor Yama. Instantly, his appearance changed, he was tall and majestic, he wore a crown and his face was blurred, he became inscrutable. His imperial robe had ghost and monster embroideries, the numbers were no longer like before, there were over 1,000 of them. This was the result of Fang Yuan's recent cultivation. Immortal killer move, Soul Explosion. Fang Yuan moved his finger as black smoke shot out, destroying everything in its path. But due to the immortal formation's protection, cloud cover continent shone in silver light, it defended against the power of the soul explosion to a great extent. But even so, a killer move at the peak of rank 7 could not be defended against by the silver light. After a chain of explosions, the area around Fang Yuan was decimated, cloud soil scattered as a large number of crevices appeared in the area of several li. Black smoke dissipated, the soul explosion ended as one Yama child monster vanished on Fang Yuan's imperial robe. After a few breaths of time, it faded as if it had never existed before. This was the price of using soul explosion. Fang Yuan did not mind the expenditure. After pondering through this, his eyes shone with brilliance. Immortal killer move, Yama battlefield. Whoosh. Intense wind blew as the world changed colors. In 3 blinks of time, a huge surrounding area was enveloped by Fang Yuan's immortal battlefield. The place was completely isolated from the outside. Within this battlefield killer move, the surroundings were pale green and yellow, vision was blur like there was fog. Dark winds blew, creating wailing sounds. It was scary and chilly. Fang Yuan let out the Yama children. These monsters cackled and flew freely in Yama battlefield. Their power was amplified, they were like fish in water. After some testing, Fang Yuan stored all of the Yama children and stopped using Yama battlefield. The sky turned clear again as he returned to Langya blessed land. Yama battlefield was the greatest achievement that Fang Yuan had made in this secluded cultivation. Earlier, Fang Yuan had deduced the immortal battlefield killer move Purple Star Broken Life. It was set up using the Wisdom Path Immortal GU that Purple Mountain True Monarch left behind. Fang Yuan used it to kill Yu Chan and Qin Bai He. But the advantage of Purple Star Broken Life Immortal Battlefield was the effect of concealing itself and isolating from the outside world. The weakness was that it needed time to set up, prior preparation was often required. And GU Immortals were not stupid. If one tried to use it in battle, they would run away before it was set up. Yama Battlefield was created by Fang Yuan after considering his own situation, using the many battlefield killer moves that were recorded within Spectral Soul's true inheritance. Yama Battlefield was inferior to Purple Star Broken Life in terms of concealment and isolating from the outside world. Its advantage was that it only needed 3 blinks of time to activate. Even though during that period of time, Fang Yuan could not move as well, it could quickly be used in battle. In this 3 blinks of time, as long as Fang Yuan could grab the opportunity and catch his enemies off guard, they would not be able to run away. After being enveloped by Yama Battlefield, Fang Yuan's advantage would be huge. Currently, I can force the enemies to stay and lose their lives if they are rank 6 or 7. Fang Yuan sighed. GU Immortals were easy to defeat, but capturing or killing would be hard. Firstly, there were countless ways to escape. GU Immortals could not deal with all possibilities, some escaping methods were bound to be effective. Secondly, Fang Yuan was fighting alone and was wanted by Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven. He had to defeat his enemies in a short amount of time. Thus earlier, Fang Yuan was very vigilant when choosing opponents. If Meng Tu did not have an immortal battlefield that could trap both him and his enemies inside Autumn Blade Plain, Fang Yuan would not want to fight such a person. Once Yama Battlefield was completed, Fang Yuan thought of his other method, Great Thief Ghost Hand. His theft path attainment level was at Great Grandmaster. Using Great Thief Immortal GU and Ghostly Concealment as the cores of the killer move, he could deduce Great Thief Ghost Hand which could steal rank 8 Immortal GU. This move was modified by Fang Yuan and became even more effective. It was used twice but managed to steal rank 8 Immortal GU Soul Beast token, as well as rank 7 Immortal GU Bladedoing. The situation quickly turned around when Meng Tu lost this GU, resulting in his loss. In the past, I could not use Great Thief Ghost Hand too often to prevent my identity from leaking. If information gets out, others would be more alert and they would try to deduce my Great Thief Ghost Hand. My arrangements inside Green Ghost Desert would also be found out. With Yama Battlefield now, I can trap my enemies and continue to use Great Thief Ghost Hand to steal Immortal GU. There is little chance of the enemies running away. I can kill and plunder them, to accumulate my cultivation resources. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with a ruthless light, deep killing intent was accumulating in him. With Yama Battlefield, he could start walking on the bloody road of killing enemies and stealing GU while annexing their apertures to gain Dao marks. Fang Yuan had no misgivings when it came to slaughtering innocent people. He did not feel any guilt or self-blame. Fang Yuan licked his lips as he shook his head. It is a pity now is not the time yet. If Langya Blessed Land did not get exposed, if there was no pressure from Heavenly Court, Fang Yuan would leave and go around killing people. But the crucial thing now was to protect Langya Blessed Land. At the current moment, the preservation of Langya sect was more important to Fang Yuan than stealing Immortal GU. There was no doubt about it. As time passed, Fang Yuan's mental pressure got larger. Heavenly Court would not let this go. Once they attacked Langya Blessed Land again, even if Langya Blessed Land prepared fully, it might not be able to resist. This was because Langya sect's trump cards and secrets were exposed in the previous battle. Meanwhile, Heavenly Court still had unfathomable foundations. It could use some trump cards that targeted Langya sector, come up with some brilliant schemes to endanger the whole of Langya blessed land. The best situation was to relocate Langya blessed land before the second invasion of Heavenly Court. But the relocation would definitely be ambushed by Heavenly Court. It might even be Prince Feng Xian most likely. Fang Yuan had already deduced this clearly. Against a rank 8, Fang Yuan could defend himself, but he lacked offense. That was quite awkward. He had two ways now. One was to use a secluded domain of heaven and earth to form a rank 8 offensive killer move. The other was to use a rank 8 immortal GU to create an attacking method as well. Among the secluded domains of heaven and earth, Luokou Valley was the best choice, and also his only choice. Fang Yuan had the inspiration to deduce Luokou seal, but unfortunately, his progress was quite slow. Even after the light of wisdom, Fang Yuan was quite vexed. In terms of rank 8 immortal GU, Fang Yuan had 4, Attitude, Wisdom Sword, Years Flow Like Water, and Soul Beast Token. Attitude GU was the core immortal GU of Familiar Face. Years Flow Like Water produced Year GU, it was not for fighting. Soul Beast Token was needed in Emperor Yama killer move, it could not be taken out. Looking at it, he only had Wisdom Sword immortal GU left. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan had obtained this rank 8 immortal GU long ago. In order to feed it, he had spent a lot of resources. But he had never been able to use it. Activating Wisdom Sword immortal GU needed rank 8 immortal essence of the user. This was what Purple Mountain True Monarch had designed for Bo Qing back then, but Fang Yuan only had rank 7 red date immortal essence now. This was a fixed rule that could not be changed. And in fact, most rank 8 immortal GU used rank 8 immortal essence. Fang Yuan's 3 other GU were exceptions. Attitude GU used mental energy. Years Flow Like Water could use any rank of immortal essence, but its strength depended on the essence used. Soul Beast Token expended the soul foundation of the user, and just looking at their activation requirements, all 3 immortal GU were top tier among rank 8 immortal GU. Thinking about it, even though Fang Yuan had many immortal GU and inheritances, his rank 8 offensive killer move still required Luokou Valley. I managed to deduce Reverse Flow Protection Seal earlier because of my Water Path Grandmaster attainment level. This time, to deduce Luokou Seal, my Soul Path is only Master level. There is a huge obstruction. Fang Yuan had Grandmaster attainment level in many paths. His Theft Path and Refinement Path were Great Grandmaster and Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster respectively, but he could not transfer them to his Soul Path. His Soul Path was only at Master attainment level. But I have the Light of Wisdom. Even though progress is slow, I can still slowly force my way through. The biggest problem is time now. I hope I can make it. At this time, the world started shaking. A huge dark spiral appeared out of nowhere. Oh no! Fang Yuan's expression changed. He recognized that the source of this dark spiral were the Dao marks that Feng Juzhe had left behind. Fang Yuan had already investigated these Dao marks long ago. Langya Land Spirit did the same. Both felt that this was a tracking method that was hard to get rid of. But now, Langya Blessed Land was isolated from the outside world. These Dao marks possessed no threat. But to think that without anyone controlling and instilling immortal essence, these Dao marks actually gathered into a dark spiral. Smash it! Fang Yuan screamed. Langya Land Spirit also gave the same orders at the same time. The defensive formation that Fang Yuan modified immediately activated. But at the same time, 4 starlight beams shot out of the dark spiral. With a loud sound, the dark spiral vanished. The starlight faded as 4 GU immortals appeared. Feng Juzhe, Chen Yi, and Thunder Ghost True Monarch were present. They were led by a female immortal. She looked around before fixing her gaze on Fang Yuan. She smiled. Fang Yuan, I finally caught you. It was Heavenly Court's current leader, the #1 Wisdom Path GU Immortal, Fairy Ziwei. Chapter 1573, Starcast. Heavenly Court invaded. 4 GU Immortals appeared out of nowhere. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk to pin size. Even with his knowledge and countless experiences, he felt that this was unbelievable. There is such a method. Sending 4 rank 8 GU Immortals in at the same time. If we did not destroy that dark spiral instantly, I'm afraid even more GU Immortals would have entered. Even though Feng Juzhe was not rank 8, his Dao marks were at rank 8 level. Fang Yuan placed him at the same level as rank 8s. Rank 8 GU Immortals had incredibly dense Dao marks. There were few methods that could transport them and they were very hard to use. Even the Immortal Killer Move 7 Immortal Doors that Feng Juzhe used earlier could not teleport rank 8 GU Immortals. If rank 8 GU Immortals wanted to move, they had to either fly themselves through immemorial white heaven or black heaven, unless they were space path great expert who could teleport themselves. But even so, such space path great experts could only teleport themselves, they could not move other rank 8 existences. And Heavenly Court seemed to have used a method to directly teleport 4 rank 8 GU immortals over from Central Continent. Such a method was truly unthinkable. Even in the 500 years of my previous life, during the 5 regions chaotic war, I did not hear that Heavenly Court had such a move. Transporting 4 rank 8 GU immortals at once, which was not the limit, and it could even create a tracking effect. Such a method was truly scary, any defense could be ripped apart, the advantage of having such a move could even extend to large-scale fights. Think about it. During the 5 regions chaotic war, every rank 8 GU immortal ruled over an area. At this time, if Heavenly Court mobilizes several rank 8s to teleport to an enemy rank 8 and attack that person as a group, they would have a huge advantage in numbers, they would likely win. Who could endure such attacks if they did it multiple times? Any force would be extremely concerned and feel helpless against this. In the 500 years of my previous life, why did Heavenly Court not do this? Was it because the conditions were not right, or was it not time for this move yet? I think I understand now. Fang Yuan's thoughts moved like lightning, he understood why. If Heavenly Court revealed that they had such methods, once a few rank 8 GU immortals died in the other regions, they would become alert, they would work together and form a large alliance against Heavenly Court. It was common sense. If they did not ally, as the situation progresses, any rank 8 GU immortal would be in great danger at all times. Heavenly Court could attack any individual rank 8 GU immortal at any time, they were not stupid, only by working together could they be safe against Heavenly Court. Of course, Heavenly Court was not stupid, they had kept this move hidden and did not use it. They were afraid that this move's great power would make the other regions work together and form a 4-region alliance that would target Heavenly Court solely. But now, in order to attack Fang Yuan, Heavenly Court had to use this move in advance, it showed how determined Heavenly Court was in attacking Langya Blessed Land. No, not just me, they are tempted by rank 9 Wisdom GU. At the same time, annexing Langya Blessed Land would greatly help towards repairing Fate GU. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly to himself. Heavenly Court's attack was too sudden, even though Fang Yuan was already mentally prepared for it. But there was no helping it, Heavenly Court's method was truthfully out of Fang Yuan's wildest imagination. This is why such enemies are the scariest. Because they have too many trump cards from their immense foundation. Fang Yuan sighed bitterly internally. Thief. At the same time, while the other Heavenly Court GU immortals stayed motionless, Thunder Ghost True Monarch directly pounced at Fang Yuan. She hated Fang Yuan to the limit, he had sold 3 of her rib bones in Treasure Yellow Heaven, that video had been playing non-stop, it was the greatest humiliation of her life. Thus, Thunder Ghost True Monarch directly charged at Fang Yuan and attacked, she was filled with intense killing intent. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan vanished as golden light flashed. Thunder Ghost True Monarch missed her target, she looked up and stared fiercely at the base of the super formation. Huff. Fang Yuan was inside the super formation now, controlling it personally. The first thing he did was to activate the formation and bring in all of the variant human GU immortals that were scattered over Langya Blessed Land. When he had just acted, Heavenly Court also did the same. Immortal killer move, Separation Song. Feng Juzhe used his signature killer move as Separation Song started, countering all immortal GU houses and immortal formations in this world. Bright light shone in Fang Yuan's eyes, he multitasked as the immortal formation flew up and burst out with orange-red light. Within the red light, Separation Song was weakening as his voice faded into nothingness. To deal with Separation Song, Fang Yuan had made some modifications to the immortal formation. It was extremely effective when used now. Feng Juzhe had once dismantled multiple layers of this immortal formation using Separation Song, but now, before Separation Song even got close to the core, it was exterminated. Feng Juzhe frowned deeply. Let me do it. Fairy Ziwei flickered her finger as a starry rainbow flew out. The starry rainbow flew like an arrow, flying past the clouds and wind, shooting into the super immortal formation and turning into a cloud of star sand. It was very dazzling. The immortal formation activated faster and faster, this star sand fused into the immortal formation's activation and revealed several special forms, like clouds or dust, or even water vats. Fairy Ziwei smiled lightly, countless thoughts appeared in her mind, moving like waves of the ocean. Oh no, this Wisdom Path Killer move can help her to deduce the workings of the immortal formation, it can also obstruct the cooperation of GU worms and make the immortal formation slower and non-fluid. Some of the variant human GU immortals who came could tell. What do we do? What do we do? Almost all of the variant human GU immortals were covered in sweat, they had nervous expressions, they were filled with fear and immense pressure of an apocalypse. Heavenly Court's group was too powerful, they were equivalent to 4 rank 8s, even disregarding Feng Zhuzhe, the other 3 were rank 8 elites and experts, one could be of immense threat to Langya Blessed Land, not to mention 3 of them. Strange, why is Fairy Ziwei not using star constellation chessboard? Fang Yuan had completely calmed down, suspicion flashed in his eyes. His fight against Fairy Ziwei was during Southern Border's Dream Realm battle. It is a pity that star constellation chessboard was left in Heavenly Court to sustain the killer move star cast, otherwise, I would be able to easily unravel this super immortal formation with dozens of times the efficiency. Fairy Ziwei sighed internally, she did not stop her actions. Another wisdom path killer move was unleashed without any warning, Fang Yuan did not even know how to deal with it, but the formation was hit and the star sand that invaded expanded to twice of its size. Troublesome. Fang Yuan frowned deeply. Heavenly Court, do you think our Langya sect are easily bullied? Kill them. At this moment, Langya land spirit growled, the silver giant formed from ancient battle formation Heavenly Giant Suller descended into the battlefield. Chapter 1574, Chen Yi. The silver giant was tall and mighty, stretching its arms and sweeping at the 4 central continent GU immortals, strong air currents were generated. Chen Yi's eyes flashed with brilliance, snorting, let me. Compared to the silver giant, his body was very small, but his aura burst out and contested the silver giant evenly. Immortal killer move, Immortal binding vine. Chen Yi pointed as countless jade green light threads extended towards the silver giant and coiled around it. The silver giant punched ferociously, but due to the obstruction of the jade light threads, it was too slow and changed directions, crashing into the cloud soil and creating a huge crater as soil scattered. Chen Yi watched at the side without moving, he floated in the air as he pointed at the silver giant with his fingers. The jade threads on the silver giant were increasing in number, surrounding it tightly, the threads got thicker until they reached their limits, becoming vines that were thick and long, binding the silver giant. Within the battle formation Heavenly Giant Suller, Langya land spirit was shouting in anger, this immortal binding vine seemed to have countered him entirely, even with great strength, he could not use any of it properly, this was quite a frustrating situation. Sixth hair, Langya land spirit called out. Sixth hair immediately used an immortal killer move as golden light appeared on the Heavenly Giant Suller, the immortal binding vines were cut apart inch by inch, but they recovered quickly. Chen Yi sneered as he used another killer move. Countless vines were cut down, landing on the cloud soil, but with Chen Yi's help, they grew rapidly, turning into huge trees. The huge trees were scattered around the silver giant, turning into a huge circle that trapped the silver giant at the center. Langya land spirit sensed something amiss, but the silver giant was bound by the immortal binding vines, it could not move away. At this time, between the giant trees, leaves and branches started to intertwine, the roots of the trees under the cloud soil also gathered into a ball and emerged from the soil. With the tree trunks as the main pillars, the branches and roots coiled together and formed a huge cage. Immortal killer move, ancient tree prison cage. The silver giant finally broke free from the immortal binding vines when it immediately got trapped in the ancient tree prison cage. Langya land spirit shouted in anger and ordered the hairy man GU immortals to unleash their offensive killer moves. But the ancient tree prison cage sustained those attacks and even used them as nutrients to strengthen itself. Langya land spirit saw this and quickly stopped. He tested for a while and found that the most effective way to destroy the cage was with the giant's bare hands. The hairy man GU immortals were helpless, they could only manipulate Heavenly Giant Suller to unleash punches and kicks, slamming at the ancient tree prison cage. Damn it, Langya land spirit cursed, his forehead was covered in sweat. He was trapped here and could not help Fang Yuan, he could only watch as Feng Zhuzhe and Fairy Ziwei targeted the super immortal formation. Without any choice, Langya land spirit had to approach the Rockman GU immortals. Quick, let that old dragon out. Roar, there was the cry of a dragon as a huge figure appeared in front of everyone. The immemorial rock dragon, its body was made of rocks, it was filled with dense earth path Dao marks, its dragon body was heavy and thick, its dragon fangs were sharp like stalactites, it was majestic and large, having an impressive entrance. The rock dragon seemed to move slowly, but it was actually fast as it flew into the sky, casting a huge shadow down onto the ground. Heavenly Court's 4 immortals were also under the shadow as they raised their heads, expressing shock on their faces. To think that Langya Blessed Land has a hidden immemorial rock dragon. Feng Zhuzhe sighed. Fairy Ziwei smiled. it does not belong to Langya blessed land, it is likely from those variant human GU immortals. As a wisdom path great expert, she had deduced the truth in an instant. Let me destroy this rock dragon. Thunder Ghost True Monarch licked her lips as battle intent surged. No need, Chen Yi grunted as he stretched his finger, using the same move again. Immortal Killer Move, Immortal Binding Vine. The immortal binding vines extended around the immemorial rock dragon as it became restricted, although it still charged at the 4 central continent immortals. The 4 immortals dodged while the immemorial rock dragon hit the ground. Next, Chen Yi used the ancient tree prison cage killer move again and trapped it. How can this be? The variant human GU immortals saw this and felt deeply surprised and disappointed. Even Langya land spirit took in a deep breath, he felt a chill down his spine. The immemorial rock dragon that they were relying on was restricted so easily. Meanwhile, on Heavenly Court's side, Chen Yi had a great display of prowess, while Fairy Ziwei and Feng Ju suppressed the super immortal formation, and Thunder Ghost True Monarch has yet to fight. Fang Yuan's expression was ugly too, but he did not feel much surprise. The immemorial rock dragon is strong in defense and has no fear. Once injured, the rock men can sacrifice themselves to heal it rapidly. This healing method is very absurd. When GU immortals get injured, it is very difficult and troublesome to heal them. The higher the cultivation level, the harder they are to heal. For rank 8 GU immortals, if they sustained injuries, they would need to pay full attention in healing themselves without distraction. But the immemorial rock dragon's healing method could be done amidst battle. This often gave many GU immortals huge headaches when fighting them. The immemorial rock dragon was also famous because of this. But today was different, it was up against Heavenly Court's rank 8 GU immortal Chen Yi. Firstly, Heavenly Court had been suppressing and killing variant human GU immortals. Having been established on that foundation, they were very familiar with the Rockman tribe's rock dragons. Secondly, the immemorial rock dragon did not have any wild rank 8 immortal GU to use, while Chen Yi had rank 8 killer moves and the best tactic against it. This led to the immemorial rock dragon's greatest advantage becoming virtually useless. And finally, Chen Yi's killer move was truly profound, especially the ancient tree prison cage. It did not fear immortal killer moves, it was hard to get rid of. It was no surprise that the immemorial rock dragon lost to Chen Yi. Even though it struggled intensely, the restriction on it grew thicker and tighter. Without external help, it could not break out of the immortal binding vines, and definitely not the ancient tree prison cage outside of that. Hairy man, we need to rely on ourselves. Langya land spirit shouted as the silver giant finally found an opening in the ancient tree prison cage and destroyed it. As expected of the second ancient battle formation, Heavenly Giant Suller. Chen Yi evaluated as he smiled, muttering, "But do you think my ancient tree prison cage is so easy to break out of?" The silver giant's movement stopped. Langya land spirit was slightly dazed. He turned around to look and found a wooden hand grabbing the silver giant's leg. What is that? The silver giant turned around and chopped down on the hand with both arms resembling an axe that struck harshly. The wooden hand was split by the axe, but it was only half split, it was not entirely chopped apart. The silver giant wanted to attack again, but a wooden giant appeared from under the soil. The wooden giant let go out its hand and lowered its body, charging at the silver giant's chest with its shoulder, slamming it to the ground. Langya sect's GU immortals were caught unguarded. They were about to make the silver giant stand up, but the wooden giant attacked relentlessly. Eventually, it jumped into the sky and crashed down on the silver giant with a loud thud. Under the immense pressure, a hairy man GU immortal made a mistake and used an immortal killer move on the wooden giant. The wooden giant was revitalized as the injuries on its body healed. At the same time, it grew to the same size as the silver giant. Chen Yi snorted in self-satisfaction. This was his immortal killer move. Giant Tree Divine Statue. It inherited the property of the ancient tree prison cage. Immortal killer moves were not of concern, only physical attacks were effective on it. So this is the power of Genesis Lotus, true inheritance. Thunder Ghost True Monarch's eyes were flickering with bright light. At this moment, Chen Yi displayed great power, suppressing both the silver giant and immemorial rock dragon. This was his true power. As the first supreme elder of Heavenly Lotus sect, and the inheritor of Genesis Lotus, true inheritance, he had incredible battle strength that was extraordinary. Earlier in Green Ghost Desert, he had fought with much frustration. Most of the time, he was fighting inside Divine Bean Palace, afraid of damaging it. He could not fight freely, while his opponent, Fang Clan's first supreme elder, had a huge advantage with strength path. He could fight in close combat freely, making Chen Yi extremely furious but without options. Now, Chen Yi could display his true advantage. He erupted with great battle strength. Even without using his trump card, Karma Divine Tree, he managed to suppress both the Silver Giant and the Immemorial Rock Dragon. Chapter 1575, Fang Yuan's Actions. Chen Yi displayed his true strength as Heavenly Court obtained the advantage. What worried Fang Yuan more was that they had not gone all out yet. Even Chen Yi, who was doing most of the work, had not used Karma Divine Tree. Even though Chen Yi is inferior to Purple Mountain True Monarch and Duke Long, he is still a first-rate expert among rank 8s. Fairy Ziwei and Thunder Ghost True Monarch are similar, while Feng Juzhe cannot be underestimated. I need to act myself. Chen Yi suppressed the Immemorial Rock Dragon and Silver Giant. Feng Juzhe and Fairy Ziwei were resisting the Super Immortal formation. Langya sect only had Fang Yuan left, who had rank 8 battle strength. If he did not act now, who could save them? And the truth was, Langya Land Spirit had already urged Fang Yuan multiple times. Golden light flickered as Fang Yuan appeared in front Fairy Ziwei. Fairy Ziwei had expected this. She waved her hand as a gust of divine purple wind started to blow. As the wind blew, it caused ripples on reverse flow protection seal. Oh, this killer move. Fang Yuan's heart sank. This divine purple wind matched the strength of its enemy. It was similar to reverse flow protection seal. It was a defensive retaliation type. Reverse flow protection seal did not have any offensive might, as both moves reflected the damage over and over again to each other. Neither sides could do anything to the other. Fang Yuan was pushed out by this wind. Fang Yuan, you finally came out. A flash of lightning flickered as Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jing Lan teleported and appeared behind Fang Yuan, smiling sinisterly and full of killing intent. Trident Lightning Dissolution, Jing Lan shouted as 3 flashes of lightning appeared from her fingertips. The lightning crackled and gathered in the air, forming into a trident made of blue lightning. Trident Lightning Dissolution landed on Fang Yuan's back but was blocked by reverse flow protection seal and reflected back at her. Jing Lan laughed loudly as she swallowed this Trident Lightning Dissolution before flying away with eyes crackling with sparks. Fang Yuan's heart sank. Oh no, this Trident Lightning Dissolution killer move is meant to probe my reverse flow protection seal. Even though Thunder Ghost True Monarch is not a Wisdom Path GU Immortal, with Fairy Ziwei the Wisdom Path Great Expert here, they can try to unravel my reverse flow protection seal here. Last time, due to Fang Yuan's trap, Thunder Ghost True Monarch was beaten up and Fairy Ziwei failed. However, the trap that Fang Yuan set up was exposed. It could no longer be used. During this period, Fang Yuan had planned and cultivated intensely, making many preparations. Heavenly Court did the same. Not only did they help Thunder Ghost True Monarch to replenish her immortal GU, Fairy Ziwei even used Star Constellation Chessboard to deduce Trident Lightning Dissolution for Thunder Ghost True Monarch, in order to deal with Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Fang Yuan had a heavy heart, but he did not fluster. The truth was, he had expected this. He actively attacked and tried to fight with Fairy Ziwei and Thunder Ghost True Monarch, in order to reduce the pressure on the rest. Both sides fought continuously as Cloud Cover Continent's terrain was completely devastated. The sounds of their battle resounded throughout the skies. The countless hairy man mortals and GU masters were extremely fearful and in shock. After the Silver Giant destroyed a giant tree divine statue, Chen Yi created another one. The immemorial rock dragon was trapped in the immortal binding vines. It had little hope of escaping. Even Fang Yuan could not help it. He had tried, but the outer layer of the ancient tree prison cage was too thick and did not fear immortal killer moves. It was a pain to get through. This killer move is not immune to all immortal killer moves. We just lack the necessary method. If I had enough time, with my wisdom path methods, I can deduce and unravel this move. Fang Yuan sighed to himself. This was the essence of Genesis Lotus True Inheritance's killer moves. It was like reverse flow protection seal, which rendered all of Heavenly Court helpless against it. Now, Fang Yuan was on the receiving side. Against this ancient tree prison cage, he had the same feelings as Fairy Ziwei, who had faced reverse flow protection seal earlier. After some fighting, Heavenly Court still had the upper hand, and their advantage was growing. Fang Yuan did not deduce Luo Po seal. He did not have an offensive rank 8 killer move. He could defend using reverse flow protection seal, but he could not be of any threat to the 4 immortals. Ancient battle formation Heavenly Giant Suller was the same. Even though the hairy man GU immortals had many methods and deep chemistry, they were not fighting against Feng Juzhe this time, but Chen Yi instead. Chen Yi had rich methods that were all at rank 8 level. No matter how Langya Land Spirit resisted, he was suppressed by Chen Yi. After some more time, Fairy Ziwei suddenly frowned as she ordered, "Senior Jing Lan, go around and find Wisdom GU. Little thief, I will let you off for now." Even though Thunder Ghost True Monarch hated Fang Yuan, The bigger picture was more important. She snickered at Fang Yuan before flying away from the battlefield like lightning. Lang Ya's side could only watch helplessly as she left. The truth was, Heavenly Court's invasion was not just to eliminate Fang Yuan and annex Lang Ya to repair Fate Gu, their most important goal was to obtain the Wild Wisdom Gu. This legendary rank 9 Immortal Gu had been in star constellation Immortal Venerable's hands long ago. Ordinary forces could not make use of it, but Heavenly Court had abundant methods. Forget about the rest, with just this Wisdom Gu, star constellation chessboard would become a rank 9 Immortal Gu house, its power would rise sharply. Just this advantage was enough for Fairy Ziwei to come personally. Earlier, when Heavenly Court's 4 immortals arrived, Fairy Ziwei had already used her investigative killer moves. Even though her search range extended throughout Langya Blessed Land, she could not find Wisdom Gu. And now, she could only send Thunder Ghost True Monarch. Seeing that Thunder Ghost True Monarch had left the battlefield, Langya Land Spirit screamed in anger while fearing that the mortal hairy men would be targeted, but because he was trapped by Chen Yi, the silver giant was still restricted by the immortal binding vine and could not move. Even though many layers were pulled off, it was quite frustrating. They are looking for Wisdom Gu. Fang Yuan's eyes burst out with bright light. His wisdom path methods were extraordinary, he had already deduced Heavenly Court's intention. It was a pity that Heavenly Court did not know Wisdom Gu was already in Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. Last time, they had failed to take it from Langya Blessed Land, that was the best opportunity, the difficulty had risen by thousands of times now. In that case, bright light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes, he noticed that this was the best opportunity. Immemorial Year Beast. He opened his immortal aperture and let out the monkey Immemorial Year Beast. At the same time, he charged forward and used countless immortal killer moves to attack Fairy Ziwei. Among the 4 Heavenly Court immortals, the biggest threat was not Chen Yi who had Genesis Lotus True Inheritance, rank 8 expert Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jing Lan who could resist Spectral Soul, or Feng Juzhe who had Assimilation Wind Song, it was Fairy Ziwei. The reason was simple, she was a Wisdom Path Great Expert. Just this point alone made her the leader of this expedition. Given enough time, she could deduce and create countless miracles. He had to eliminate this Wisdom Path Gu Immortal first. Chapter 1576, Yama Battlefield. Ancient Sword Dragon Transformation. Soul Explosion, Strength Path Giant Hand, Myriad Dragon. Fang Yuan used almost all his methods against Fairy Ziwei. Fairy Ziwei laughed. Fang Yuan, you're at your wit's end. She also used multiple killer moves of all kinds, they were all profound and actually blocked all of Fang Yuan's attacks. Some even countered his moves. Fang Yuan's methods had already been exposed long ago. Fairy Ziwei had been collecting intel and did a lot of deductions, she created many methods that countered him. This was the incredible power of a Wisdom Path Gu Immortal. But at this moment, Fang Yuan's killer moves still had some use, after all, he had also modified his moves to deal with Fairy Ziwei's deductions. But in terms of Wisdom Path attainment, I cannot compare to Fairy Ziwei. At this rate, eventually, Fairy Ziwei will deduce all of my methods and I will no longer be able to fight back. Thoughts flashed in Fang Yuan's mind, battle intent surged in him but his mind was still cold as ice. Fairy Ziwei smiled as she breathed out some purple chi with imposing aura. The purple chi was delicate like a baby's fist, but it entered the Immemorial Year Beast's mind the moment it hit. Howl, the Immemorial Year Beast growled in pain, it was furiously holding its head, it lost its ability to fight as it rolled around on the ground. The variant human Gu immortals controlling the super immortal formation were all stunned. Fairy Ziwei's own battle strength was even higher than Chen Yi. Earlier, she had not fought seriously, but now, her strong methods and imposing air were a huge shock to everyone. Fang Yuan also felt a little discouraged. He still had 2 immemorial soul beasts captured from Green Ghost Desert, but he did not want to use them now. Immemorial desolate beasts alone were often at a disadvantage against rank 8 Gu immortals. That was, unless they had rank 8 immortal Gu in them. Against these rank 8 Gu immortal experts from Heavenly Court, even immemorial desolate beasts with wild immortal Gu could not deal with them. Like how Fang Yuan could capture those 2 immemorial soul beasts earlier, against Fairy Ziwei, they held little threat. I am clear of this, in order to resist Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in the past, Heavenly Court had obtained many soul path methods. This is why I let the Immemorial Year Beast out, if I summoned the immemorial soul beasts, they would be even weaker against her. Fang Yuan felt pressure rising in him. The enemies were just too powerful, they were truly formidable. Fang Yuan did not even have the confidence to kill the weakest person among them, Feng Juzhe. Fairy Ziwei and the rest were all experts among rank 8 experts, any single one of them could match Fang Yuan or even defeat him. To speak the truth, Langya Blessed Land was already very powerful, it had 3 rank 8 battle strength existences. This was already above the standards of most super forces in the 5 regions. Among the 5 regions, only the top-tier super forces had 1 rank 8 GU Immortal. In southern border, why could the number 1 Righteous Path super force Wu clan dominate the region for so long? It was because there was a point in time where they had 2 rank 8 GU Immortals simultaneously, and also at least 1 rank 8 GU Immortal throughout the generations to hold the fort. Of course, Immortal GU houses could not be neglected, many Immortal GU houses had rank 8 battle strength too. The strength of Langya sect was equivalent to a super force or even above that. But against Heavenly Court, it was just too weak in comparison. The immemorial rock dragon was suppressed by Chen Yi. Heavenly Giant Suller was struggling but still at a disadvantage. Feng Juzhe had been dealing with the super immortal formation that Fang Yuan modified. The formation path attainment of the variant human GU immortals inside could not match Fang Yuan, while Feng Juzhe's separation song was absurdly fierce even though it was countered by the immortal GU formation. The two sides were at a deadlock. Fang Yuan's fight against Fairy Ziwei was locked in a deadlock as well without any breakthroughs. He could not let this go on. Once Thunder Ghost True Monarch fails to find Wisdom GU and returns to fight, unless Langya Land Spirit exposes a new trump card, Fang Yuan would definitely lose. Langya Blessed Land originated from Long Hair Ancestor, it must likely have other trump cards. But now, I cannot depend on this possibility. Immortal Killer Move, Yama Battlefield. Fang Yuan suddenly flew and got closer to Fairy Ziwei, before using his newly developed Immortal Battlefield Killer Move. Because of the soul explosion earlier, there were large numbers of soul path Dao marks in the battlefield. Yama Battlefield rapidly opened as it formed in a breath of time. But even at this speed, Fang Yuan could not trap Fairy Ziwei. This Wisdom Path great expert noticed something amiss the moment Fy got close to her, she immediately retreated. Fang Yuan's Yama Battlefield was created very quickly, one breath of time was faster than most of the Immortal Battlefield killer moves in this world. But this amount of time was enough for Fairy Ziwei to escape. I failed. Fang Yuan's heart sank. Not being able to trap Fairy Ziwei, he had wasted his immortal essence. However, my efforts were not in vain. Fang Yuan looked at Feng Juzhe who was inside Yama Battlefield as he surged with killing intent. I'll kill him first. Fang Yuan grabbed the opportunity, the position earlier was perfect, if Fairy Ziwei had not retreated in advance, he would have trapped the both of them. Yama Battlefield was a new method, even if Fairy Ziwei wanted to unravel it, she would need some time. If Fang Yuan could trap both Feng Juzhe and Fairy Ziwei, in the battlefield, there would only be the Silver Giant, Immemorial Rock Dragon, Chen Yi, and the Super Immortal Formation. Now that Feng Juzhe was trapped, the Super Immortal Formation was safe. If they could grab the opportunity to destroy the ancient tree prison cage, the Immemorial Rock Dragon would also be free. Chen Yi would have to deal with both the Silver Giant and Rock Dragon, as well as a Super Immortal Formation, he would not be able to handle it. If they could severely injure Chen Yi during that period, even if Thunder Ghost True Monarch returns, Langya's side would be able to regain their footing. But now, Fang Yuan only managed to trap Feng Juzhe, that meant the Super Immortal Formation and Fairy Ziwei were competing with each other. But even if Thunder Ghost True Monarch returns, for the time being, they would still be in a deadlock. After all, rank 8 battle strength and sufficient foundation meant that they could not fall easily. Thus, Fang Yuan's target now was to kill Feng Juzhe. And he had to do it quickly, the faster the better. After killing Feng Juzhe, Fang Yuan would dispel Yama Battlefield and deal with the 3 Heavenly Court rank 8s alongside the Rock Dragon and Silver Giant. Langya's side would be in less danger after that. Thus, Feng Juzhe was a crucial point to break through. A Soul Path Battlefield killer move. It seems to have Theft Path mixed in. Fairy Ziwei looked at the air in front of her. For the first time in this battle, she frowned. The Immortal Battlefield isolated the inside from outside. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had used it right in front of her. Otherwise, she could not find the point of entry for Yama Battlefield that was just a tiny spot. But even if she did, Fairy Ziwei's deductions were having huge problems. Because Yama Battlefield not only contained the profundity of Soul Path, it also contained ghostly concealment. It was one with the killer move Emperor Yama. Chapter 1577. Fang Yuan vs Feng Juzhe. Rumble. The Super Immortal Formation activated as countless lightning bolts attacked Fairy Ziwei and Chen Yi. Since the battle started, this super formation had either been suppressed by Feng Juzhe and Fairy Ziwei or was in a deadlock with Feng Juzhe. It could finally displayed its might now. Chen Yi quickly defended himself, he was quite troubled. Lang Ya land spirit saw the chance and moved the silver giant, resisting the attack of the giant tree divine statue as it crashed into the ancient tree prison cage trapping the rock dragon. Fairy Ziwei quickly thought about it, choosing to attack the super immortal formation while deducing Yama battlefield, ignoring Chen Yi's situation. Fairy Ziwei chose the safe method. If Feng Juzhe fought with Fang Yuan now, she might not assist him. If he really ended up in a dangerous spot, she might reinforce him, she would still make it in time. But now, Yama battlefield was isolated from the outside, Feng Juzhe and Fang Yuan were fighting alone, this was dangerous and accidents might occur. Feng Juzhe was equally important to Heavenly Court, even more than Chen Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch, because he was the Tao Guardian of Great Dream Immortal Venerable Feng Jinhuang. Fairy Ziwei did not want any mishaps to occur to him. Fang Yuan wanted Feng Juzhe to die right now. Immortal killer move, Emperor Yama. Immortal killer move, Yama Child. Immortal killer move, Soul Explosion. At once, Fang Yuan attacked in a frenzy, turning into Emperor Yama form as the Yama Child army attacked Feng Juzhe from all directions. Soul explosions were mixed in and caused great damage to Feng Juzhe. In just a short period of time, blood was already flowing out of his mouth. Great method. Feng Juzhe felt an intense threat to his life, he used his killer move. Immortal killer move, Yang Pastun. At the moment of crisis, he had to use Yang Pastun killer move despite there being a time limit. Using Yang Pastun, he dodged and dodged, but within Yama battlefield, his method was greatly restricted, it was quite ineffective. The Yama children were amplified and moved even quicker and with greater force, they attacked without fearing death. Feng Juzhe dodged with all his effort, but he could not shrug off the Yama children. Immortal killer move, Song Warrior. Immortal killer move, Green Jade Song. Immortal killer move, Heaven and Earth Song. Immortal killer move, Submission Song. Immortal killer move, Separation Song. 4 Song Warriors protected Feng Juzhe as he moved around the Yama Child army, trying to get close to Fang Yuan. Capturing the king is essential, this was the most straightforward and wise tactic. Fang Yuan in his Emperor Yama form flew around in Yama battlefield with utmost ease and agility. Even though his enslavement path attainment was not high, he could still order the Yama children to attack Feng Juzhe fluidly. After a while, Feng Juzhe had a grim expression. Green Jade Song Warrior often shattered the Yama children which were turned into jade statues. But these Yama children were all unfearing and were tougher to deal with than ancient desolate beasts. Heaven and Earth Song had little effect within Yama battlefield, Separation Song could break apart immortal formations, but the immortal GU used to sustain this battlefield were inside Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. This was unlike immortal formations and immortal GU houses which had their immortal GU house outside. Separation Song could not affect the interior of Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture, it was useless. Submission Song that Feng Juzhe had entrusted his hopes to was the best method against enslavement path. It had been a great help against Fang Yuan in the past, but right now, this song was an example of, the bigger the hope, the greater the disappointment. The Yama children were merely affected in movement, they were completely unaffected by the enslavement effect of Submission Song. My Yama child uses Soul Beast modification, Soul Beast summoning and other methods within Spectral Soul True Inheritance, it also relies on ghostly concealment at the core, how can your Submission Song work against it? Fang Yuan snickered in his mind. Do I need to use Assimilation Wind Song? Feng Juzhe gritted his teeth. Fang Yuan's battle strength was very shocking. Even though he was mentally prepared, now that he was suppressed by Fang Yuan, Feng Juzhe felt a sensation of disbelief. How long had it been? Not long ago, he, Feng Juzhe, had chased Fang Yuan from southern border to western desert and put him in a difficult position. Fang Yuan's growth speed is too fast. This time, even if we do not get Wisdom GU, we need to kill him. Feng Juzhe sighed internally, he stopped the notion of using Assimilation Wind Song. Assimilation Wind Song was too dangerous. Once he used it and made a mistake, the first person to die would be Feng Juzhe. Unless he had no choice, Feng Juzhe would not use Assimilation Wind Song. Especially in an intense battle like this, the interferences were too great. And my Assimilation Wind Song has already been exposed, how can such a crafty person like Fang Yuan be unprepared against it? Feng Juzhe was very wary of Fang Yuan's wisdom path attainment. This time, we attacked with a powerful force, because Fairy Ziwei isn't trapped inside this battlefield killer move, we have the absolute advantage in battle now. I need to wait for Lady Ziwei to deduce and break this immortal battlefield from the outside, that is the best method. After all, this immortal battlefield contains soul path and theft path aura, but no time path aura, there should not be any problems with the rate of time. Feng Juzhe dodged as he fought, refusing to let the Yama children surround him. He decided to wait for reinforcements after putting his trust in Fairy Ziwei. Feng Yuan had been thinking of ending the battle quickly. If Feng Juzhe fought against him directly, he would be extremely happy about it. But was Feng Juzhe stupid? He had a clear understanding of the situation. He chose the best tactic for now. Feng Yuan sighed deeply in disappointment. Unfortunately, even though I have time path methods and rank 8 time path immortal GU years flow like water, it cannot be fused into Yama battlefield. Yama battlefield was not a killer move used on sovereign immortal body, it had the problem of conflicting Dao marks. Feng Yuan had always kept a balance between theft path and soul path, but the conflict had reached the limit. Adding time path on top of it was too difficult. Time path battlefield killer moves could alter the rate of time compared to the outside world, but Yama battlefield could not. In fact, even if Feng Yuan tried to use time path killer moves, any moves that were not theft path or soul path would be resisted by the Dao marks of the immortal battlefield. Immortal killer move, triple extreme sound. Feng Juzhe's methods were unending, the Yama children could not get close. Once his song warriors were destroyed, he would create new ones immediately. But the biggest problem for Feng Yuan was Yongpa's tune. It allowed Feng Juzhe to teleport instantly. Even though this move was restricted in this battlefield, having a limited range and would not break out of Yama battlefield, Feng Yuan's Great Thief Ghost Hand was too slow, at least, when compared to Feng Juzhe. Even though Yongpa's tune had a time limit, Feng Yuan could not wait. He needed to end this fast. He had to kill Feng Juzhe as soon as possible, in order to help in the battle outside. Immortal killer move, familiar face. Feng Yuan turned from Emperor Yama into a Yama child as he sneaked into the army. Feng Juzhe's heart jumped, his teleportation became more frequent. But Feng Yuan was still in the dark while he was exposed in the open. After a while, Feng Yuan found his opportunity. Immortal killer move, Great Thief Ghost Hand. The ghost hand was completely concealed, going past the 4 song warriors and aiming for Feng Juzhe directly. Feng Juzhe was still using triple extreme sound, he did not sense its movement. Great Thief Ghost Hand entered Feng Juzhe's immortal aperture and grabbed an immortal GU tightly before leaving rapidly. Oh no, fixed immortal travel. Feng Juzhe stared with his eyes wide opened, he was deeply shocked by the assault. He quickly turned around and burst out with sound waves, forcing Great Thief Ghost Hand to reveal its appearance before him. He was about to attack the Great Thief Ghost Hand, but Feng Yuan was well prepared. A large number of Yama children rushed up and sacrificed themselves, protecting the Great Thief Ghost Hand as it entered Feng Yuan's immortal aperture. Chapter 1578. Feng Yuan's Rank 8 Offensive Method. To think that I would regain fixed immortal travel one day. Feng Yuan sighed deeply as he looked at the immortal GU that was captured by Great Thief Ghost Hand. Oh, it's been raised to rank 7. It is indeed what I had deduced from the information earlier. Feng Yuan was secretly joyful. Even though he had ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel which could replace the use of fixed immortal travel to some extent, it had many flaws, needing 4 GU immortals to execute. Furthermore, it had a smaller range than fixed immortal travel, which was able to go anywhere in the world. Rank 7 fixed immortal travel still had the same appearance as its rank 6 version. Right now, this GU was struggling in Great Thief Ghost Hand, but it did not move, holding on to fixed immortal travel as it flew rapidly. After flying into Heaven Sealing Mountain inside Mini Southern Border, Great Thief Ghost Hand opened and tossed fixed immortal travel into the immortal formation. This immortal formation used 2 immortal GU as the core, self-love and affection, along with countless mortal GU. The main effect was to help Great Thief Ghost Hand refine the stolen immortal GU quickly. Even though Reverse Flow River could be used here, it was already the core of Reverse Flow Protection Seal that Feng Yuan needed in battle. Feng Yuan had already succeeded once in using immortal GU self-love and affection to refine other people's immortal GU long ago. His plan was originally to incorporate affection and self-love into Great Thief Ghost Hand so that after it steals immortal GU, the GU can be refined instantly on the spot. This seemed unnecessary, but that was not true. If he could refine it on the spot, Great Thief Ghost Hand would not need to suppress the immortal GU and bring it back to Feng Yuan, it could continue to steal more immortal GU consecutively. After being put inside Heaven Sealing Mountain, fixed immortal travel was suppressed and the refinement was automatically done. Feng Yuan could see results soon. Feng Yuan placed his sights on Feng Juzhe again. Feng Juji's expression was one of alertness and solemnness, a look of disbelief was hidden deep within his eyes. Feng Yuan actually has such a method to steal others' immortal GU. Even those inside the immortal aperture are not spared. Did he obtain another thieving heaven true inheritance? This method made Feng Juzhe feel an intense threat. The sound wave attack that he used to force out Great Thief Ghost Hand was activated again, he did not want to cancel it. This move is too terrifying. If the stolen immortal GU earlier was the core immortal GU of my triple extreme sound killer move, wouldn't my killer move activation fail, causing me to suffer backlash and receive severe injuries? Feng Juzhe felt a bit of relief and also lingering fear. Feng Yuan felt that it was a pity, but Great Thief Ghost Hand could not choose its target. If he really stole the crucial immortal GU again like when he fought Meng Tu, Feng Juji's killer move would fail and the battle would turn around, he could even be killed quickly. Even though Feng Yuan succeeded, Feng Juzhe was completely alert now. He used Yang Pastun to teleport non-stop, refusing to stay at one spot. At the same time, he used his sound wave killer move without regard for immortal essence consumption. As for triple extreme sound, Feng Juzhe stopped using it. He did not dare to. His focus was all on escaping the pursuit of the Yama children. After Feng Yuan was exposed, he used familiar face again to disguise as a Yama child to approach Feng Juzhe subtly. This was an immense mental pressure to Feng Juzhe. But Feng Yuan was not feeling great either. Feng Juzhe was too slippery. He kept moving around the place, using his sound wave move and preventing Feng Yuan from getting any opportunities to attack. It seems that I will need to put some effort into the concealment of Great Thief Ghost Hand. Feng Juzhe actually had a way to force out the Great Thief Ghost Hand to show itself. This was out of Feng Yuan's expectations. He immediately thought of Formless Hand. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's signature method could interchange between Phantom and Solid. If it was used instead of Great Thief Ghost Hand, it would fear no sound waves. Formless Hand was also extremely fast. Once used, the enemies of Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable could only watch as their immortal GU were all stolen one by one. They would spit out blood from anger and helplessness. But Feng Yuan's Great Thief Ghost Hand only had a small trace of Formless Hand's glory. Even so, it made the great Feng Juzhe fluster and escape in anxiety while feeling fearful. Feng Yuan forced Feng Juzhe to move around the place, but he felt no arrogance that he succeeded. He was clear that he only had hopes of victory if he killed Feng Juzhe quickly now and went back to help out Langya Blessed Land. But in the following battle, Feng Juzhe did not leave any flaws for Feng Yuan. He was also a demonic path cultivator that shocked the whole of Central Continent, challenging all 10 sects at once. He had rich battle experience. As time passed, Yang Pastun's time limit finally arrived. A chance. Feng Yuan was anxious and joyful. He was anxious because so much time had been wasted and Feng Juzhe was still alive, but he was joyful because the flaw had finally appeared. Feng Juzhe's heart sank. In the past, his fierce attacks would render his enemies helpless. After becoming a famous person, he had never been faced with a situation where a rank 7 GU immortal chased after his life. Now, he had experienced this from Feng Yuan. He finally recognized his own weakness, that was the movement aspect. With Yang Pastun unusable, Feng Juzhe's speed fell drastically. He was soon surrounded by Yama children and could no longer dodge as easily. Feng Juzhe was forced to defend himself at one location. His killer moves had great power as he attacked the Yama children who surrounded him from all directions. Feng Yuan hid among them perfectly. Great Thief Ghost Hand was prepared to strike the moment Feng Juzhe's defenses revealed a flaw. But at this moment, the entire Yama battlefield started to shake as it emitted a sharp noise. Oh no, Feng Yuan's expression changed. Lady Ziwei must have done it. Feng Juzhe was very happy. The entire Yama battlefield started to shake with greater intensity. Fairy Ziwei's actions were extremely effective after this amount of time. So little time had passed, Fairy Ziwei actually managed to deduce the workings of my Yama battlefield. She is so fast. No, at this rate, Yama battlefield cannot last for 30 breaths of time. I need to obtain victory now. Feng Yuan's eyes shone with a ruthless light. I was saving this for Fairy Ziwei and the rest, but I will use it on you first. There was no time. If Yama battlefield was broken, Feng Yuan would lose the chance to kill even Feng Juzhe. He made up his mind to use this trump card. Immortal killer move, Soul Explosion. It was still the Soul Explosion method, but Feng Yuan was not detonating any ordinary Yama child, it was an immemorial Yama child. Feng Yuan had 2 immemorial soul beasts originally. During this period of cultivation, he turned the 2 immemorial soul beasts into Yama children as well. These 2 Yama children were extraordinary. Feng Yuan had finally used them after hiding them for so long. Ancient Yama Child Soul Explosion was a peak rank 7 killer move, while Immemorial Yama Child Soul Explosion was rank 8. Even though Fang Yuan did not deduce Luo Po Seal successfully, he still had another hidden rank 8 offensive method. Boom! Immemorial Yama Soul Explosion. Feng Juzhe was directly hit. Splat! At a certain area in Central Continent, Feng Jinhuang went into a daze, the cup in her hand fell to the ground and shattered. Duke Long sent her an inquiring gaze. Feng Jinhuang held her chest with an uncertain expression. Just a moment ago, she felt an intense sensation in her heart. Chapter 1579, Fate Armor. He didn't die. What immortal GU is this? Fang Yuan stared with slightly widened eyes as Feng Juzhe floated in the air. Feng Juzhe's 7 orifices were bleeding intensely, but a thin light armor surrounded his body. This armor saved his life, allowing him to survive the immemorial Yama Soul Explosion. Rank 8 Immortal GU, Fate Armor. Feng Juzhe coughed out blood as he said. Fang Yuan's expression was very dark. This was the first time he was seeing Fate Armor Immortal GU, even though Feng Juzhe used it in the River of Time earlier. Fang Yuan had sent Feng Juzhe into the River of Time back then. He did not witness this personally. Thus, Fang Yuan did not know the existence of Fate Armor Immortal GU. And precisely so, he miscalculated. Heavenly Court's Foundation. Fang Yuan smiled helplessly, but at the next moment, his determination surged as he looked at Feng Juzhe with a menacing gaze. This Fate Armor Immortal GU can protect you once, but can it save you again? Fang Yuan still had another immemorial Yama child. Feng Juzhe was pale as paper. He had sustained severe injuries but he spit out some blood. Cough, you can try. I'm not afraid to let you know, Fate Armor Immortal GU's effect is defense. Its power varies but it only follows the results dictated by fate. If I am not meant to die now, Fate Armor Immortal GU can protect me from any killer move in this world. If I am fated to die already, then Fate Armor's protection will be as weak as paper. Fate. Fang Yuan frowned tightly, saying the name of one Immortal GU. You are right, this has to do with Fate Immortal GU. Feng Juzhe nodded as he sighed. If Fate Immortal GU was destroyed, Fate would no longer restrict all living beings. Fate Armor's power would be reduced greatly, restricted by its rank. Rank 8 Immortal GU would only be able to unleash Rank 8 defensive power. But now, Fate was injured and not fully destroyed. Fate still bound the people of this world. This allowed Fate Armor Immortal GU to unleash defenses beyond Rank 8. My reverse flow protection seal is a tortoise shell already, but this Fate Armor Immortal GU is even more sturdy. Fang Yuan was shook, but his attacks became even fiercer. Feng Juzhe used Fate Armor with all his strength. His immortal essence expenditure was huge but he could last for some time. This time when attacking Langya Blessed Land, Fairy Ziwei had already provided him assistance in the form of immortal essence storage. Rumble. At this time, there was an intense explosion as a purple galaxy appeared in Yama battlefield. It expanded and revealed the appearance of the outside Langya Blessed Land. Why is she so fast? Fairy Ziwei's speed of deducing Yama battlefield was way faster than Fang Yuan's expectations. Fang Yuan grunted as he bled from his nose and mouth. Yama battlefield collapsed. He had to face the backlash of this killer move. Fairy Ziwei did not give Feng Juzhe Fate Armor Immortal GU simply to protect him. Once it was activated, Heavenly Court would sense it. Back then in the River of Time, Lord Huangshi had used Fate Armor to locate Feng Juzhe and save his life. Now, Fairy Ziwei was already close to breaking into Yama battlefield and unraveling it. Fate Armor acted as receptor for Fairy Ziwei to increase her deduction of Yama battlefield. She could open up a pathway with a shorter amount of time. In history, Wisdom Path deductions have been the hardest at the starting step. All the Wisdom Path GU immortals in the world were trying to deduce matters on Fang Yuan, but he used Wisdom Path protection methods. As long as they were intact, they could not find him. Among the 3 Wisdom Path GU immortal experts of Eastern Sea, Wan was also helpless and even reverse deduced by Fang Yuan. When she had just started to deduce it, Yama battlefield was complete and had no loopholes, but now that she tore an opening in it, the hardest part was over. The difficulty had fallen greatly. Tear. The sound was endless as streams of purple galaxies tore through the sky, creating countless tears in Yama battlefield. Boom. With an intense explosion, Yama battlefield broke apart entirely. Fang Yuan spit out a mouthful of blood as a large number of mortal GU died in his immortal aperture. The immortal GU used were also injured to some extent. Fang Yuan returned to Langya Blessed Land while in Emperor Yama form. Be careful, he has a way to steal immortal GU from the immortal aperture. Feng Juzhe escaped and managed to fly back to Fairy Ziwei. The moment he came out, he gave this intel to all his teammates. It's you. Chen Yi was the first to speak. he shouted angrily with wide-opened eyes. He recognized that Fang Yuan was the one who fought him in Green Ghost Desert, the one who stole Qing Chao's soul beast token right in front of him. Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. He did not manage to kill Feng Juzhe, Fate Armor Immortal Gu ruined his hopes. And even worse, Emperor Yama and Great Thief Ghost Hand's intel were exposed, the enemies found out about them. This was something Fang Yuan had been trying to avoid. Since the start of the battle, he had been keeping this trump card hidden, hoping to use it in this battle to kill a strong enemy, using Yama battlefield to conceal the traces and keep his secrets hidden, but his wishes were not answered. Fang Yuan did not manage to kill anyone while his trump cards were exposed. Fang Yuan, you are truly a source of chaos. Lu Guanyi is you, Suan Bu Jin is also you. Fairy Ziwei's eyes flickered with purple light, she instantly understood Fang Yuan's plan. So that's it, you want to control Green Ghost Desert to collect soul cores and use Danghun Mountain and Luokou Valley to cultivate. It is a pity Danghun Mountain has been destroyed. No, there is orderly well you have a way to restore Danghun Mountain. Visit on our novel full. Fang Yuan did not speak. This Fairy Ziwei was a wisdom path great expert indeed, she exposed so many of Fang Yuan's secrets in an instant. Fairy Ziwei was also feeling deep lingering fear. To think that Fang Yuan has such a method to steal other people's immortal Gu directly. Thankfully, Great Thief Ghost Hand is much weaker than Formless Hand, it cannot choose what immortal Gu to steal. Otherwise, if it stole a crucial immortal Gu, Feng Juji's killer move activation would fail, he would face a backlash and would need to use Fate Armor in advance. It would be a problem of whether he could last until I deduce and broke this immortal battlefield killer move. Great Thief Ghost Hand can steal rank 8 immortal Gu, thankfully it did not manage to take Fate Armor, otherwise, how could Feng Juzhe survive? Feng Juzhe is indeed a Dao Guardian, he has strong luck and was not suppressed by Fang Yuan's luck. However, Fairy Ziwei looked at Fang Yuan with an eerie gaze. This demon managed to steal fixed immortal travel, it means that his luck is very strong, even though he failed to kill Feng Juzhe. Fate Immortal Gu was damaged by Red Lotus Demon Venerable, even though it was not destroyed, it was greatly weakened. Thereafter, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable rose up and created Luck Path. As long as Fate did not recover, Luck Path would continue to be this strong. Fang Yuan's Luck Path attainment level was not high, he did not have any strong offensive killer moves in Luck Path, but Luck Path had always been helping him subtly, like Burning Soul Bursting Luck. Boom boom boom, explosions resounded as both sides fought again, ending up in a chaotic battle. Feng Juzhe had lost a lot of his battle strength as he went under Fairy Ziwei's protection. Fang Yuan was also without options against Chen Yi's ancient tree prison cage, he could only join up with the Super Immortal Formation and Heavenly Giant Suller to deal with Chen Yi and Fairy Ziwei. Fairy Ziwei displayed the might of a rank 8 expert now, her killer moves were used with great execution, far above Chen Yi. Chen Yi had Genesis Lotus, True Inheritance, while Fairy Ziwei cultivated Star Constellation's True Inheritance. It was not that Genesis Lotus, True Inheritance was inferior to Star Constellation's True Inheritance, but because Wisdom Path killer moves were fundamentally more complex and expended much more mental energy. Fang Yuan still had one immemorial Yama child, Emperor Yama and Great Thief Ghost Hand were already exposed, Fairy Ziwei and the rest could counter it. They did not put down their guard, they were covered by immortal killer moves that exploded continuously. If Great Thief Ghost Hand got close to them, the explosions would force them out, there was no opportunity to steal. The truth was, Chen Yi and Fairy Ziwei's investigative methods were very exemplary, but Fang Yuan stopped using Great Thief Ghost Hand frequently after fearing that it would be found out. The more he used it, the more flaws he would expose. Especially against Fairy Ziwei, the more intel he leaked, the more she could deduce. Bam! With a thunderous sound, Thunder Ghost True Monarch appeared in a flash, she had returned. Chapter 1580, Heavenly Court's Call to Surrender. The moment Thunder Ghost True Monarch returned to the battlefield, the expressions of both sides changed. Heavenly Court's immortals were extremely happy while Fang Yuan's side turned grim. The two sides were evenly matched. At this time, Heavenly Court gained a new rank 8 battle strength who was a first-rate expert, this would cause a huge change in the battle result. But Thunder Ghost True Monarch's report made Fairy Ziwei's gaze turn dark. What, you did not find Wisdom Gu? Wisdom Gu was refined by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and the refinement process was recorded in Star Constellation's True Inheritance, allowing Fairy Ziwei to know a lot about it. But Fairy Ziwei did not know that Wisdom Gu had the trait of following after information path environments. Wisdom Gu is wild, did they refine it? Or did they destroy it? Or did they have any method to resist the light of wisdom and relocate wisdom GU? Thoughts rumbled in Fairy Ziwei's mind. She was thinking at lightning speed. She stood up and looked at Heavenly Giant Suller, gazing at Fang Yuan as she shouted, "Hand over wisdom GU, I will allow you to surrender." Heavenly Court's current invasion was mainly for rank 9 wisdom GU, Fang Yuan was only secondary. Immortal GU were unique and hard to refine. Rank 9 Immortal GU were at the pinnacle of the pyramid. In the current 5 regions, in this entire world, there were likely less than 10 rank 9 GU. Rank 9 Wisdom GU was too important for the growth of Heavenly Court's strength, it was second to Fate GU. Ignoring anything else, just Fairy Ziwei alone, with just her Wisdom Path attainment and Star Constellation chessboard, she was already one of the 3 strongest Wisdom Path grade experts in the world. If she could obtain rank 9 Wisdom GU, and use Star Constellation chessboard to refine it, she would be the number 1 Wisdom Path grade expert in the world. She would comprehend all of the profundities of Wisdom Path in this universe, she would stand at the very top, the second strongest person would be miles away from her, she would have an unthinkable deduction ability. Even if Fang Yuan had Emperor Yama, or even a rank 8 Wisdom Path method, he would not be able to block Fairy Ziwei's deductions. Only rank 9 methods could work. But how many rank 9 Wisdom Path methods were there? At least in Fang Yuan's true inheritances of Langya and Spectral Soul, there were no such records. Surrender. The hairy man GU immortals shook. Langya land spirit shouted in anger, "Surrender my ass. Langya blessed land will only have hairy men dying in battle, we will not be kneeling slaves." Fang Yuan was quite curious. "I am a complete otherworldly demon, in order to get wisdom GU, will your heavenly court spare me?" Fairy Ziwei smiled arrogantly, "So what if you are a complete otherworldly demon? Our heavenly court predecessors have known about otherworldly demons long ago, we have recruited them before, it was merely not written in history. Look at now, Zhao Lianyun is the best example. Fang Yuan, heavenly court is far more magnanimous and accepting than you think. Even if you are an otherworldly demon who possessed Spring Autumn Cicada and Spectral Soul's true inheritance, as long as you turn over a new leaf and contribute your sovereign immortal aperture into heavenly court, you will be one of us. And according to Heavenly Court's rules, we will treat you equally as everyone else." After hearing these words, Fang Yuan's expression did not change, he still smiled coldly, but Chen Yi had a complex expression, there was suspicion and jealousy in his eyes. Chen Yi believed what Fairy Ziwei said, because Heavenly Court's rules were as such, regardless of who you were in the past, after joining Heavenly Court as a Righteous Path member, after giving up your immortal aperture, you would be a member of Heavenly Court, there would be no differential treatment. But it is so difficult to join Heavenly Court. I, Chen Yi, have worked hard my whole life, I only managed to join Heavenly Court because of my battle strength and the fact that I have Genesis Lotus true inheritance. How many years has this Fang Yuan cultivated? He killed people and caused havoc everywhere, but if he turned around now and become a righteous person, he would get to join Heavenly Court. At once, Chen Yi felt a strong sense of injustice, he even felt a little grievance in his heart. But Thunder Ghost True Monarch's expression was unchanged, because Heavenly Court had once tried to recruit someone else, this person slaughtered the people in the world, he was a much greater problem than the current Fang Yuan. He was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Before Spectral Soul Demon Venerable reached rank 9, Heavenly Court had tried to recruit him multiple times. After becoming rank 9, they also tried to recruit him once. Heavenly Court is the Heavenly Court of humanity. Fang Yuan, you are extremely talented, you managed to roam freely as a rank 7 and evade Heavenly Court's pursuit for so long, it shows your qualification to join us. I can swear on my life, after joining Heavenly Court, not only would you preserve your life, you would be able to cultivate and continue being a free GU immortal. Thunder Ghost True Monarch said. Fang Yuan, at once, the hairy man GU immortals looked at Fang Yuan with worry. Even Sixth Hair did the same. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. To obtain Wisdom GU, you guys are willing to let me go and recruit me, it shows how important rank 9 Wisdom GU is to all of you. Then how about this, if you do not let us off today, I will destroy Wisdom GU in your face, your attempt will end in failure. HMPH, incorrigible. How can the Grand Righteous Path be threatened by the likes of you? Since you want to die, I will grant you your wish. Thunder Ghost True Monarch charged at Fang Yuan with deep anger. Boom boom boom. Fang Yuan fought against Thunder Ghost True Monarch on barely even grounds, thunder was rumbling, air currents were turbulent. Oh, that means Wisdom GU is on you now. Fairy Ziwei's eyes flickered with brilliance, she started to act as well. Fairy Ziwei was suppressed by Thunder Ghost True Monarch and Fairy Ziwei's cooperation, he could only use reverse flow protection seal to defend himself, he could not fight back at all. He transmitted to Langya Land Spirit, First Supreme Elder, this is an emergency. If you have any methods left, use it now, otherwise, there will be no time to regret. Langya Land Spirit shouted, forget it, I'll show you the true power of Langya Blessed Land. As he said that, the entire sea surface of Langya Blessed Land started to bubble, it was as if the ocean was boiling. Countless refinement path Tao marks shone with the light of Tao marks, be it GU immortals or mortals, they could see it with their naked eyes. The aura of an immortal killer move burst out like a grand tornado, it rampaged in the entire Langya Blessed Land, none of Heavenly Court's GU immortals were spared, they were all hit by the move. What is this? Chen Yi and the rest had changes in expressions, all of their defensive methods radiated with a brilliant light, forced to resist the move. The mysterious killer move was incredibly powerful, even Fang Yuan was hit by it, there were countless ripples on his reverse flow protection seal. Quick, come inside, Langya Land Spirit transmitted, moving the silver giant towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan successfully fused into Heavenly Giant Solar formation, this was not the first time he was entering this ancient battle formation. What move is this? A flash of joy sparked on Fang Yuan's face. Langya Land Spirit's move was very powerful, all four Heavenly Court immortals were all forced to defend themselves, they could not attack. Langya Land Spirit smiled bitterly. These were the gains in battle that my main body had obtained when he killed a water path great expert in his life, using it, he comprehended the strongest refinement path killer move, omnipresent 4 seas. This move expends an immense amount of seawater, unless we are refining rank 8 immortal GU, we would not use it. Against the enemy now, it can only last for dozens of breaths. Fang Yuan observed carefully, Langya Blessed Land's sea level was truly falling, a vast amount of water was expended to maintain this omnipresent 4 seas killer move. Fang Yuan had a realization, so this Langya Blessed Land's terrain was carefully designed. The 3 continents float on the vast sea, but the seawater is not simple at all, it is actually the refinement path foundation of the blessed land, it is truly precious. Fang Yuan looked at Heavenly Court's GU immortals as he sighed. It is a pity that this move cannot differentiate friend and foe, otherwise, if we can attack now, we can gain the upper hand. Actually, omnipresent 4 seas could be contained in an area, but that place needed to have a corresponding immortal formation to draw out the power of the killer move and refine GU. And this refinement path immortal formation is none other than the long hair refinement path formation used to refine myriad self for Fang Yuan. Heavenly Court would naturally not be lured into such an obvious trap, and in this situation, Langya Land Spirit had no choice but to use this move fully across the whole of Langya Blessed Land, in the sky, land, and sea. But this way, Fang Yuan's super immortal formation would also be attacked by omnipresent 4 seas. Thankfully, Langya Land Spirit was prepared for it and went towards the silver giant, disassembling as the immortal GU were collected back, the variant human GU immortals of the 3 races also entered the silver giant. What do we do now? Fang Yuan looked at Langya Land Spirit as he asked. He felt that Langya Blessed Land still had some trump cards left. And this battle would be decided by those trump cards.